sued for denying housing to Black families. As president, he sat by while the cost of housing skyrocketed. Now, we can hand the keys to our housing policy back to a negligent landlord, or we can elect a president who believes in safe, affordable housing.
My friend Kamala is coming up on one of the last major fundraising deadlines before Election Day. So when I say that your donation will go a long way,
in safe, affordable housing for all. Let's ensure we have an opportunity economy by voting for Kamala Harris. Thank you.
Don't know why, but I feel like
All right, man. We're not about to do all that with the. You're not about to do all that with the music.
2016 to 2020.
I voted for Trump before, but I'm not going to do that again. I think his agenda's really been awful for America.
He doesn't care about ordinary people. He's never been one, never known any.
I'm extremely worried about Donald Trump getting into the White House again.
People are working. All these people who weren't working under the Trump administration, they now have jobs.
One thing I like about Kamala Harris is she talks about the issues. She talks about
No,
the
she
economy.
don't, bro.
She talks about
Stop the
women's rights.
cap.
I'm going to vote for Kamala Harris.
Why you just lie like that with the music for copyright? Why you just
Please
lie like that?
welcome California Representative Ted Lieu.
Who this guy?
As a computer science major, I am so impressed with how large this AI-generated crowd looks tonight.
Wow. Way to add that humor to it. So
I
sarcastic.
first got to know Kamala Harris during the Great Recession when I was a California state legislator. Millions of hardworking families were facing foreclosure. My constituents told me stories about predatory and unfair loan terms, and about how hard they were fighting to keep the homes that they loved. Thankfully, they had someone fighting just as hard for them, Attorney General Kamala Harris.
Stop the lies.
She
This
led
is
an
crazy.
investigation of the mortgage industry to root out fraud. She helped pass the Homeowners Bill of Rights, and she held the big banks accountable, bringing back $20 billion to homeowners.
Yeah, inflating the market.
Since those days, I've seen her continue to fight for affordable housing as
The
vice
money that's
president.
going to pay for itself.
And as president, she's going to cut red tape so we can build more houses, help new homeowners afford a down payment, and take on corporations that unfairly hike up rent.
The government should not be involved in the housing market.
Kamala Harris fights for affordable housing because she gets
Communism.
it. You know, when her mom was raising two girls, she did what so many parents do: work early hours and work late nights, pay the bills, and put on a brave face so her girls did not know how hard it really was. It shouldn't be this hard in America. And President Kamala Harris will make sure it's not.
Well, how it's supposed to be? You
She'll
got to
fight
work
to
hard.
lower housing costs so that everyone, everywhere, can find a place to call home.
Yeah, and be complacent and don't work hard. Yep. Yay, that's great.
don't know why, but I feel like
If she do that, do they not realize?
Depend on Medicare and Social Security for survival.
I'm a recipient of Social
And
Security
you're going to
benefits.
continue.
I worry about Social Security and Medicare.
If we don't protect it,
through Kamala Harris that Trump is going to take that money.
Project 2025 is going to be disastrous for many of us.
He's nowhere near a part of Project
Who's going to take care
2025,
of
bro.
us? Where are we going to live? I don't know. But I know I'm voting Democrat.
I'm supporting Vice President Harris because she will protect my Social Security and that of all others.
Bro, you look like a veteran. She ain't about to protect you, bro. She don't even care about the veterans, to me.
Please welcome Wisconsin Senator Tammy Baldwin.
Hello, Democrats. And hey, Wisconsin. Tonight, I want to talk about family. We know that all families don't look alike. My mother was a teenager when I was born, and she struggled with addiction. I never met my father, but I had two incredible grandparents who stepped in and raised me, David and Doris Green. Everything I know, I learned from them. In every way a child needs,
She sound
my
like she reading
grandparents were there for
teleprompter.
me. And as they grew older, it was my privilege to be there for them. So when I work to protect Medicare and Social Security, I do it with a personal knowledge of what those big programs meant in small but deeply meaningful ways to my grandparents. And I know what they mean for your parents and grandparents. But let's be clear, that is all at risk today. Donald Trump was asked what he would do about Social Security and Medicare, and he said, and I quote, "There's a lot you can do in terms of cutting." Cutting? He's talking about cutting Social Security and Medicare while giving a huge new tax break to billionaires and corporations? Well, Kamala Harris is not going to let that happen.
I think you need people to
Tim
oversee
Walz
those type
is
of
not going to let that happen.
government
We
entities.
are not going to let that
A
happen.
lot of people abuse it.
You know, they've got it backwards. We Democrats, we honor our elders
You
and
Democrats
ask the wealthiest to
like
pay
to
their fair share.
inflate the market and cause inflation.
Wisconsin's state motto is forward. And my friends, that's where we're headed.
We headed to destruction of Kamala Harris. We
Please
better go
welcome
ahead somewhere.
Massachusetts Representative Catherine Clark.
I am a proud mom of 3. And when my kids were young, I sat down with my husband to go over our bills. We realized that my entire income went to paying for childcare. We asked ourselves, how on earth will we make this work? So many parents will tell you a similar story. They'll tell you that preschool
It's
can
called
cost
sacrifice.
as much as rent, or that they drive over an hour just to find childcare. They'll tell you that the workers who watch their children have it even worse. When parents have to choose between their kids and their jobs, businesses are hurt too. We shut out talent. We lose the prosperity parents could create. Childcare makes our economy run. And yet, Donald Trump's Project 2025
Bro, why they
will
keep spreading
eliminate
this
Head
propaganda?
Start, close classrooms, raise the cost of care. And J.D. Vance says affordable childcare is class war against normal people.
It is a class war.
You know what normal people want? A president who understands this shouldn't be so damn hard.
Okay, but how are you going to implement?
That's Kamala Harris. She's seen this firsthand. You've all heard Kamala
Yeah, she's
talk
seen
about
it
her
firsthand
mother.
and did
She
nothing.
was both a brilliant scientist and a devoted mom. She had to fight to make it all work, to raise her daughters, to pay the bills, to keep the career she loved. Kamala and Tim know that when everyone can find and afford childcare, our kids and our communities will thrive.
Interesting.
Our middle class will grow.
They
So
never
let's
worked in the
put
private
childcare
sector.
at the top of the agenda. Let's build a future worthy of our children. Let's elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
Yay, just champion emotions and no real policy. Yay, sounds great.
Please welcome Colorado Representative Joe Neguse.
Not with the copyright, bro. My man does sound like he coming out from surfing.
Thank you. Good evening, Chicago. My name is Joe Neguse, and I represent the great state of Colorado in the U.S. Congress. My parents immigrated here from a place torn apart by war. They worked hard every day, made tremendous sacrifices, and taught me to never take for granted the educational opportunities that we have in this incredible country. It's because of them and because of those opportunities that tonight their son stands before you as Assistant Democratic Leader of the U.S. House of Representatives. My fellow Americans, let me say this clearly. Don't let anyone tell you that the American dream is dead. It is alive and well, and it will grow even stronger with Kamala Harris as the next president of the United States.
No, it won't. American dream is dissipated.
How do we know that? How do I know that? Well, it's because Kamala Harris believes that college can be a ticket to the middle class, and she has fought to make it more affordable her entire career. As California Attorney General, she took down one of the biggest for-profit colleges, securing $1 billion, $1 billion for students who were defrauded. Alongside President Biden, she expanded Pell Grants and secured record funding for HBCUs. And Kamala Harris made public service loan relief a reality for teachers and first responders and firefighters and nurses and countless others across our land.
Loan relief that we paying back.
Vice President Harris delivered before, and she will do it again. As president, she will build a brighter future, a more affordable future, a future where going to college doesn't break the bank, a future where my 5-year-old daughter, Natalie, who's watching us back home in Colorado right now, a future where she can live her dreams.
My man promoting himself.
So those are the stakes. Let's make it happen, America. Let's make history, America. Let's elect Kamala Harris, the 47th President of the United States. Thanks so much. God bless. Thank you.
My man using this opportunity to bring visibility to himself, I'll tell you that. That's for a fact.
I basically worked in public service my entire adulthood, over 27 years. Seeing my mom work in the public service sector, it was actually inspiring me, and I'm like, she gives more to the community than she is for her own self. As a single mother, I knew I wanted my daughters to have a better life than I did. So I said, you know, going to school will help me. I would see her move like the bills to the side, but I know she was mounting. I know she was drowning in student loan debt. Then eventually my loans got to $800 a month. I paid it. I did what I was supposed to do. But I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna be in debt until the day I die. When the Biden-Harris administration first announced the public service loan forgiveness, and I'm rushing to my mom, like, apply for this, apply for this. I'm sitting at my desk, opening up my mail. It says, Thank you, Kelly, for public service. Your loans now have been forgiven.
You're
Took a deep
forgiven.
breath, and I screamed. I had to pinch myself. I had to see if
Bro,
this was
hold
really
up,
happening.
bro. Hold up. First of all, don't pick no basket weaving degree. Get into a STEM program. It's called investing in yourself, so you pay it back. They're forgiving it, but what about it doesn't absolve for all the other individuals that had to work hard to pay their loans back? And on top of it, they forgive your loan and we paying for it in everyday life. So when I go to the grocery store and all the taxes and inflation that's going on right now, I'm paying back your student loan money that they so-called forgave, bro. This is crazy, bro. Anyway, let's go back live, bro.
It creates stability. Thank you, Vice President Harris and the entire administration. I just want to thank you again and again and again. Thank you so much.
No.
Our party's not over.
Bro, they having a party, bro. You gotta be kidding me, bro. No, they not having a party. Bro, I'm literally not playing it because due to copyright purposes. But this has been a bunch of propaganda, messy things being targeted towards Donald Trump. And all of this is basically playing off of emotions to connect you with this belief and believing in false hope, because Kamala Harris has given you hope for the last 3 to 4 years, and look what happened. That's the type of hope that you want. Y'all want this type of hope to be reinserted for the next 4 years. And like I said, it's muted because of copyright purposes. But they over here having a whole free concert instead of engaging with the people in its entirety. And a lot of people looking at it for the interest that's being gained for entertainment instead of what really needs to be honed in on, which is policy. Bro, if you don't tell me this is crazy, then this is crazy. This is as crazy as it could get, man. So, this is wild, bro. Copyright out this world, though. Look at these folks with this little bit of hope. Or hope. They full of hope, right? And the way the hope is being distracted right now, the way the false hope is being spreaded right now, and like I said, I got the volume low due to copyright purposes with the song. But the way the hope is spreading right now is through trying to connect with this emotions and fear and all these personal attacks against Donald Trump and using his music to sort of spring out this hope that they keep trying to display. Because to be honest, hope is all lost with the inflation and everything going on right now, bro. And that's the truth. This economy is trash. And the way she's talking like she's not a vice president is just mind-blowing to me. What is it going to take for her to so-called be president to finally do things? I don't know, man. I feel like these people that's partying right now, they ain't even thinking of the right stuff. They ain't even asking the right questions. They're just full of bullcrap and messy propaganda, like I said. So they wanted to be distracting on with concerts.
Please welcome Durham, North Carolina Mayor Leonardo Williams.
Hailing from the Tar Heel State, home of Duke University and North Carolina Central University.
Let me guess. This is a sorority group.
Leonardo Williams from Durham, North Carolina.
It's that Divine Nine stuff, right?
You know, several years ago, my wife Zwaylee and I started cooking for our community. We drove to schools, doctors' offices, just to give out a few samples. And eventually our friends asked, "Where's the restaurant, y'all?"
Oh, your restaurant gonna die in her
But you know, it
administration.
takes capital. It takes capital to chase a dream.
And she capping your capital.
And during the Trump administration, they did not make it easy.
What?
Not for folks like us.
Bro, they gave y'all free money.
What I thought was, I guess not everybody can have a multi-million-dollar loan from their father.
Bro, what are you talking about?
So I'll tell you what we did. We emptied our savings.
PPP loans and all that?
And in 2008, we launched Zweli's Kitchen, America's first Zimbabwean
Hold up, bro.
restaurant.
I can't believe this man sitting here lying like this, talking about during the Trump administration, they didn't get her no money. Bro, it's inflation right now. We basically in a recession. And he over here talking about capital. Bro, the cost of your products and services is at a triple. Man, you over here talking about capital, bro. Boy, I know you ain't got no capital right now. And if you vote her in, she gonna cap your capital. She gonna cap your employees. And at the end of the day, she gonna cap how much money you make. And all small businesses are gonna fall by the wayside. And only big businesses like Walmart and stuff gonna exist. Bro, you better go ahead somewhere. You ain't gonna better cover no costs.
Kamala Harris is fighting to create an opportunity economy that can break down barriers for entrepreneurs like us.
Yeah, all right.
And as president, she will support risk takers and problem solvers who want to just do their part and claim their piece of the American dream.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Stop
And
the
also,
line.
I want to thank Maya from Nevada, who has served her famous dumplings for the past 3 years and opened new locations thanks to the historic support for small businesses. And Robert, I want to thank you from Minnesota. Robert owns a solar business. Heated up once by Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, they passed the Inflation Reduction Act. And Paul from Arizona. Paul, who's a commercial cleaning company, landed huge contracts thanks to the Biden-Harris manufacturing boom. So Kamala Harris knows. She knows entrepreneurs like these. She knows that we are the backbone of our community. And when they succeed, we all succeed. Let's win this. Thank you.
Yeah, all right.
Please welcome
We're not
Illinois
succeeding right
Representative
now.
Raja Krishnamurthy.
As an economy, we not succeeding, bro.
America Against America. It's the title of a book by one of China's highest-ranking leaders, and it's how they think they'll win. They know the only way they'll beat America is if we beat ourselves. In Congress, my job is to study China's economy.
We're not
And
even
mark
investing
my
in
words,
ourselves like China.
They want to see Donald Trump across the bargaining table because he'll start endless trade wars that raise prices for Americans, because he'll cut programs that train workers in America. But most of all, Trump will pit American against American.
Stop the
And
line.
that's what China wants.
Hold up. He said Trump would pin American versus American. First of all, in that Trump rallies, they be all love and peaceful and unity. And when you get to Democrats, you got Democrats versus Democrats. You got protesters tearing down y'all fences, bro.
Fight,
This is crazy.
we win. Because
fight,
Kamala
we win.
Harris
Okay.
knows how we fight best, not American against American. She knows that when we fight as one country, we win. When we fight as one team, we win. Which is why when Kamala Harris wins in November, we win. Thank you so much.
This is crazy. How y'all feel about that? They said they'll win.
We believe in a future where every person has the opportunity to build a business, to own a home, to build intergenerational wealth.
Bro, you got 25,000 to get a home, right?
Affordable health care, affordable child care.
You got, all right, listen to this. It's going to be American wages can't even align with the amount of what it's going to cost to have a house. So you're going to get a house, right? And you're going to be struggling home buying. And then you're going to put down 3%. And then after you put down 3%, you're not even talking about maintenance. We ain't talking about none of that. Just get a house, right? Yeah, just get a house. Yay. This is crazy. This is crazy.
Here's a real question. Mom's asked me in Pennsylvania.
Oh, Philly, huh?
What am I supposed to do if I can't afford diapers? In just 6 months, a box of diapers went up $15.
Oh, yeah, like
the
$50.
corporations say your prices are up only because their costs are up. They're selling you a lie. It's in the bag with the diapers. Prices are up because these corporations are scheming to drive them up. Most companies are good companies. It's the food conglomerates that sit behind the supermarkets.
They don't know
the
economics,
faceless wholesalers. They're the ones who are extorting families at the checkout counter. This is greedflation. I've been fighting it a long time. So is Kamala Harris. And finally, we're starting to win.
Stop all that frivolous spending.
Up the cost of insulin, we passed a bill to stop them. Now, for millions of Americans, it's capped at $35 a month.
Yeah.
So that's one.
Under what administration?
I've been fighting to ban price gouging on food. And next year, when she's president,
it's not price
Kamala
gouging.
Harris will sign a bill to do just that.
We got to cover the
another.
cost.
And when corporations
to pay
take advantage of a
and stuff.
crisis, like toilet paper during the pandemic, we'll hit them with harsher fines when Kamala Harris is president. Now, Americans don't expect stuff to be free, but we do expect it to be fair. The people I'm talking to, from Allentown to Erie, they don't tolerate being ripped off. Americans are hardworking, honest
being ripped
people.
off right now.
And that's what we've been fighting for. We're fighting for honesty. I'm fighting for it. Kamala Harris is fighting for it. Will you fight for it?
No, she not.
All right, let's go out and win this thing. Thank you.
Yeah, win this thing. Okay. Yeah, just go out and win this thing. Yeah.
Please welcome Massachusetts
She's fighting
Senator
for it.
Elizabeth Warren.
See, the vice president is fighting for it. Strengthening illegal immigrants. Fighting for it. Yep. Let Joe Biden tell us. This is crazy. What's up, sis? You gonna speak, sis? She's just excited to be there. Look at her. You go, girl. Wait! I got a little lingerie. I got it for you. I got the air horn for you. Yeah. Is she ready to cry? Sis ready to cry. This is the longest round of applause. She got a longer round of applause than Kamala Harris, bro. This is crazy. They won't elect her as president, though. They won't elect her as president, though.
You know what I love best about Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris can't be bought, and she can't be bossed around.
Oh, wait.
Now, I first met Kamala in the aftermath of the 2008 financial crash. The banks had flat out broken laws, cheated people, and stolen homes. Millions of Americans had lost their jobs, their savings, their homes. Now, I was setting up the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Go CFPB!
You go ahead. Bring
Kamala
visibility to yourself, girl.
was
Promote yourself.
protecting families as California's Attorney General. You bet. And Donald was scamming students at Trump University and trying to make money off people losing their homes. Kamala Harris stepped up. She enforced the law. She fought the giant banks, and she delivered billions of dollars of help for families. And that is the difference between a criminal and a prosecutor.
Oh, snap. Well, technically, he's not a criminal. I believe in election
You know
interference.
what else I love about Kamala? She gets it. We need to make life more affordable for working people. Yeah.
How you gonna do that?
Trump, the felon, has no plans to lower costs for families.
That's a
He
lie.
doesn't know how.
It's
And
cheaper than
basically,
COVID than
he
now
doesn't really
with
care.
groceries, bro.
When did he ever fill up a gas tank or worry about a grocery bill?
That's
The only
a
bills
lie,
he
bro.
worries
I
about
can't.
are from his criminal defense lawyers. But Kamala,
That's crazy.
she cares deep down.
Oh,
And
yeah?
she will take on the giant corporations that are squeezing American families. In fact, it's something she's done before. During the California wildfires, she went after the price gougers. During the pandemic, we worked together in the Senate to stop price
Family,
gouging.
comment down below how
And
y'all
as
feel about this in the chat.
She will lower costs for your family.
Yeah, I feel like this is messy. I feel like they being messy.
She'll take on the Wall Street firms that buy up millions of houses and apartments and then jack up the rent. She'll take on drug companies that charge an arm and a leg for prescriptions.
I thought they lowered
She'll
it. What's she
take
tackling?
on corporate monopolies that rip off consumers and billionaires who don't pay taxes.
Yeah.
And she'll take on right-wing extremists who think they should decide who has access to abortion or IVF. Kamala will protect abortion rights nationwide.
That's how they engage emotionally with the warning.
And there it is. Groceries, gas, housing, healthcare, taxes, abortion. Trust Donald Trump and J.D. Vance to look out
He
for
said
your
J.D.
family.
Vance.
Shoot, I wouldn't let those guys, I wouldn't trust them to move my couch.
That was so corny. You get somebody else to move your couch. But I don't want to move your couch anyway.
We need Kamala Harris. This election is about your family and your future. I've seen Kamala Harris fight. I've seen her win. And when it comes to our families and our futures,
Why don't she
Kamala
debate?
Harris is someone we can trust. So here it is, with joy in our hearts. Let's elect Kamala Harris, the next president of the United States.
She acting like she get elected right now, bro. Why she drop out the debate with Trump though? I'm curious. Is it because Trump is trained by her arch enemy, Tesla? Oh my goodness, here go the next party. Yes, family, I am muting it due to copyright purposes. But I want to know how y'all feel. They having another party within the convention. That's what they love to do. Have parties, so. They like to have parties and be acting like they at the club, right? I don't hear no talk about policy, though. This is what annoys me, because they say these things surface level, but they don't do nothing to substantiate their point. They never explain the processes or the process of how they're going to incorporate these things. And then they say so many simple things, and yes, I have it, the volume low due to copyright purposes, and I'm having a little party like they at a club, but I never see them. They just so busy trying to engage and stir up so much emotions. They're like, oh, you know, Kamala Harris is going to be great. She's going to fight big corporations and blah, blah, blah. Like, bro, communism at an all-time high is being advocated. At the end of the day, I don't like her economic policy. These individuals never worked in the private sector. I'm going to keep saying it. Never worked in the private sector. They always got paid to take on and take taxpayer dollars money because at the end of the day, they never had a job in the private sector to really understand. You know what I'm saying? And that's why Kamala economics is trash, just like her economic policy. They say these things about how things are high, but she's the sitting vice president, and they're doing nothing about lowering the costs. Right? I don't get it. I don't get it, man. This is beyond me, family. This is beyond me. And I feel like it comes a fine line when it comes to our families, the economy. Is just right from wrong, right from wrong. That's all it is. I don't worry about Kamala. I don't worry about Trump. I'm just worried about the best interest as us, the American people, bro. That's it. That's all. That's it, and that's all. So... Okay, so they're done with the party.
All right, Democrats, we know that a secure future depends on strong global leadership. As Vice President, Kamala Harris has been tested on the world stage. She's faced down threats, stood shoulder to shoulder with our allies, and engaged in the serious work of safeguarding America's security. Please welcome to the stage an Army Ranger, my colleague, Congressman Jason Crow.
They meant to tell me she just promoted her colleague and presented them.
Before serving in Congress, I was a paratrooper and an Army Ranger. Over 100 combat missions in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Well, at least you actually went to the Army
what
and did
really,
what you had to do.
Really makes America strong and secure. You see, it's not tough talk. It's not chest thumping. Because in war, talk is cheap. And trust me, I know a couch commando when I see one. Real strength and security come from our people, from our allies. Donald Trump's Project 2025 would abandon our troops, abandon our veterans, our allies, and our principles. In Chapter 4, Trump plans to do Putin's bidding by abandoning Ukraine and walking away from our NATO allies. In Chapters 2 and 3, he plans to fire our national security and military professionals and then replace them with MAGA loyalists. But I refuse to let Trump's golf buddies decide when and how our friends are sent to war. When we join the military, we raise our right hand
And you swear.
and we take the oath.
Oh, yeah, you do.
We know that it comes with sacrifice, but we also know that it comes with a promise that America will have our back.
What about 10-watt sketchy military
will break
record? Because
that
you actually
promise.
went into the service, executed, and did what you had to
In fact,
do.
in Chapter 20 of Project 2025, he plans to slash
Bro,
veterans' benefits
that don't got nothing to
and
do
then
with Trump.
privatize VA health care.
You know how Project 2025 ain't got nothing to do with Trump? Because Trump helped the veterans. This is how you know this is a lie. Fact check it. They don't even fact check these facts.
First, and then the others follow. Leaders always go first. But Trump, he would push your son or daughter out of the plane and then abandon them when they come home. Our troops deserve a commander-in-chief who will always have their back. That leader is Kamala Harris. And together, we will make Kamala Harris our next commander-in-chief.
President Joe Biden and I, along with our entire country, are grateful, deeply grateful to each and every one of you for your service and for your excellence. The United States military, without any question, is the strongest and best fighting force the world has ever seen. And that is because of you, each one of you.
Please welcome
That was
Michigan
cute.
Representative Alyssa Slotkin.
Come on, girl. Come out. Hey, how y'all feel about this so
Good
far?
evening.
Welcome, welcome.
I'm
I see
Alyssa
two
Slotkin.
people.
I am
How are
honored
you?
to be your U.S. Senate nominee from the great state of Michigan. Go blue, go green, my peeps from Michigan. My life in service began in New York City on September 11th. As the smoke cleared, I knew my career would be spent protecting the country we all love. I was recruited by the CIA and served 3 tours in Iraq alongside our military. And I worked at the White House under presidents of both parties and as an acting assistant secretary of defense under President Obama. I want to
Fancy.
talk tonight about national security because the choice in November is stark. America retreating from the world or leading the world. Trump wants to take us backwards.
Lies.
He admires dictators a lot. He treats our friends as adversaries and
He
our
said, "A
adversaries
lot."
as friends. But our vision is based on our values. The values that took us to the shores of Normandy and helped us win the Cold War. We believe America should inspire and lead at home and abroad. We recognize that it's not just about having a
Inspire.
strong military, but about tackling global challenges like AI and climate change together. And guess what? That takes friends. You gotta have friends to do that. Vice President Harris understands our strength abroad is inextricably
So
linked
that's
to our
why
strength here at
we
home.
give a lot of money
our
to
schools, a
other
strong
countries
middle
and not help
class,
American
and the
people.
health of our democracy.
Wait. So y'all gotta have friends, so y'all gotta keep buying y'all friends? That's not a real friend then. If y'all giving all this money over to the other countries with the frivolous spending and y'all not helping the American people, this is mind-blowing to me. And then on top of it, you wonder why we, the American people, gotta pay for it because of y'all irresponsible spending. I don't think they know the true definition of inflation. Prices and services go up. Consumers, us, the American people, have to pay for it because y'all want to be buying y'all allies, which are so-called friends. Like, what, bro? Like, stop playing with me, man. How y'all feel about that, fam? Comment down
Please
below.
welcome New York Representative Pat Ryan.
I'm just here to give perspective. I'm not for anyone. I'm for policy.
among the Americans I proudly represent in Congress are the 4,400 cadets at West Point, my alma mater.
Oh, we on
Last
sorority?
year, I welcomed Vice President
And all
Harris
that.
when she delivered the commencement address. I watched as she shook the hand of every single cadet.
Oh my goodness.
That's the thing about West Point. The day you take the oath to defend our country, you get to look the person
shook your
in the
hand.
eye who may one day, God forbid, send you to war and take their measure. And every time, Kamala Harris looked back with respect, with reverence. That day, I saw our next commander-in-chief.
Well, we got veterans struggling right now. We got immigrants getting all this money
At West Point,
for
you
food.
learn the honor code. A cadet will not lie, cheat, steal, or tolerate those who do. Well, there's a candidate who has violated every word in that code. A serial liar, cheater, thief, who looked soldiers in the eye, then turned around and called fallen heroes suckers and losers.
Here go this divisive
Who
talk.
insulted
Here we go.
Medal of Honor recipients just last week. I tell you what I think of Donald Trump. They told me I can't say that word on TV. I'm going to use an Army term, FUBAR. If you don't know FUBAR, Google it.
I'm going to Google that
These last few weeks
because I don't know what that
have
means.
felt like a new day in America.
I'm gonna
When we
Google
are
on my
waking
phone.
up, rising up as patriots to demand our next president be someone who not only treats our veterans with respect,
Just so y'all know, family, FUBAR means working out of working order.
but
Damage.
everyone with respect, with dignity, with the truth. Someone like Kamala Harris, our next commander-in-chief.
This is crazy.
We are not done.
Oh, they partying again. I'm lowering the volume due to copyright purposes, family. So far, family, I want to know, is just 3 of you guys in the chat, or 3 of you guys viewing it? What's up, family? Welcome to the little watch party we got over here. Just letting all my thoughts and, you know, straight. First time watching it, obviously, because it's live, but just giving my thoughts and commentary raw off the cut. So I just want to know how y'all feeling about this so far. I mean, the convention is interesting. Don't get me wrong. Like I say, I'm not for it. I can disagree with some things with Trump, just like I could disagree with some things with Kamala, right? Like I said, I'm for a policy that makes sense for the best interest of the American people for the most part. You know I'm not going to like either parties in its entirety, but I'm just trying to understand where I'm going wrong, because I'm gearing more to the Trump side, but I want someone to give me a different perspective on why they feel Kamala is a great candidate. So
Now, we have put up this questionnaire. If you want to chime in, please do. A lot of you already
who do you
are
think would be the
making
DNC
your
special
voices
guest
heard.
tonight?
Who do you
Beyonce?
think will be the DNC special guest tonight? You can go to livenowfox.com/connect, or you can scan that QR code there. Is it Beyonce? Will it be
Of
Taylor
course.
Swift? Will it be Mitt Romney or someone else? Please vote. This is going to be quite a talker come tomorrow morning. Whoever
It's going to be
it is
Beyonce.
going to be this special guest as we await for Vice President Kamala Harris to deliver her keynote address to formally accept the nomination for president from the Democratic Party there in Chicago. Her running mate, of course, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, did just that last night, accepting the vice presidential nomination. And so we have been showing you all of this throughout the last 4 days. A lot of celebrities, a lot of musical guests. You saw Stevie Wonder last night.
Yeah.
You saw Sheila E. last night. You're gonna see
Beyonce is
Pink
going
tonight.
to Beyonce is going to perform, and I tell you why, family. Because they're going based off identity politics. They're basically going off a certain demographic that resonates with them and seek validation. And we got Al Sharpton in the building. Trump did not call them fine people. And like I said, I'm not biased either. I hold either party accountable. But Trump did not say that. You can look it up.
She has the vision to get that done.
Hold up. I don't even think Trump took a salary when he was a pilot star like this. She ain't gonna touch on no policy, but she gonna be like, I'm talking now. Like, what, bro? Come on, bro. We all grown here. You ain't gotta talk doing all that other stuff.
All right, very, very powerful moments there by now the exonerated Central Park Five, introduced by Al Sharpton. I'm Andrew Kraft. We do want to get into, just briefly, a piece of news that really corresponds to the poll question we just brought you. TMZ reporting right now, Beyonce is in Chicago and getting ready to pop out for Kamala Harris on the final night of the DNC. So TMZ breaking this right now, that Beyonce reportedly is performing tonight at the DNC on the final night in Chicago as Vice President Harris will formally accept the nomination for president. So wanted to make sure we got that in there as well. We do want to get
I
back
told y'all
out, though,
Beyonce was
to
going
the
to perform,
stage
right?
at the United Center. More from the DNC right now.
I'm Amy Resner. I was a colleague in the courtroom when my friend Kamala tried one of her first cases and made the prosecutor's promise for the people. For Kamala, practicing law was always about protecting the vulnerable and giving the victims a voice. Women who were sexually assaulted, children who were mistreated and sexually abused. She helped them navigate their nightmares and demand justice for their injuries. And she did it all with grit and grace, intelligence and heart. She was a remarkable prosecutor, and she will be a remarkable president.
Survivors of sexual assault struggle to be heard over the cacophony of voices demeaning, discrediting, and vilifying them. When powerful offenders are allowed to manipulate public opinion by attacking their victims' credibility,
That's what your friend
all
do.
victims suffer. Those words are from the
Manipulate
2021
public opinion.
amicus brief filed by RAINN, the nation's largest anti-sexual violence organization, in the case of E. Jean Carroll versus Donald J. Trump. As a legislator and lifelong advocate against sexual violence, I urge all of us to stand together to support survivors, believe them, and hold perpetrators accountable.
I'm Lisa Madigan, former Attorney General of Illinois. I worked with Kamala Harris during the Great Recession to protect homeowners from foreclosure.
So
As
these are her
Attorney General of
coworkers.
California,
Okay.
Kamala met thousands of people on the verge of losing their homes and their faith in the American dream. She demanded big banks provide mortgage relief to allow families to stay in their homes. She stood her ground, and together, we prevailed. For as long as I have known her, Kamala Harris has always taken principled positions and never wavered. Thanks to Kamala's determination, countless Americans have a home they can call their own.
And I'm
They got a
Marco
home
Real,
they're struggling to pay
civil
for.
rights leader.
and former mayor of New Orleans. In the 1970s, Donald Trump was sued for refusing to rent his apartments to African Americans. His employees were told, put those applications in a drawer and leave them there. It was straight up housing discrimination. It was racism, and civil rights advocacy put an end to it. Kamala Harris has a plan to build more housing, keep rent prices fair.
The artist R.
and
Kelly
help
lived
more
in the Trump
people
Tower.
own homes. Donald Trump, you denied black people the American dream. And Kamala Harris is creating a future where every family, yes, every family has a place to call home.
I'm Nathan Horns. In 2010, I went to college in California to pursue my dreams, but ended up with a nightmare. Corinthian Colleges was a predatory for-profit chain. They defrauded more than 500,000 students and burdened us with loans we could never repay. Then, Kamala Harris stepped in. As Attorney General of California, she stuck up for students. She prosecuted Corinthian, and as Vice President, she
If she
stuck
did
with
all
us.
this for California, then why
As we
California is a
fought
dump
and
right
we
now?
organized for debt relief, the Biden-Harris administration came in, canceled all Corinthian student
Governor
debt,
trash
and gave
over there.
us back our futures.
My name is Tristan Snell, and I prosecuted Trump University. I interviewed over 100 victims of Trump's fraud, a retired police sergeant, an Iraq veteran with PTSD, a mother caring for her son with special needs. They trusted Trump. They believed that he would teach them his secrets and make their American dreams come true. But all they got was credit card debt and a fake diploma. Some lost their life savings, some lost their homes. Donald Trump ripped off his biggest fans and made $5 million in profit. Kamala Harris fought scammers like him, and as president, she will continue to fight for you, for us, for the people.
So we got for the people, that's one. We got no going back, that's two. What other mantras they got going on?
Please welcome Massachusetts Governor Maura Healey.
For the people. Those three words define the role of a prosecutor. To serve not only our clients in the courtroom, but our community and our country. To give people a sense of security and safeguard the principles that hold our nation together. To stand up to abusers and bullies, and stand up for the voiceless and the vulnerable. In other words, exactly what Kamala Harris has done her whole life. When she was DA, mothers of children who'd been murdered, whose cases had gone cold, would come to her office saying, "I'll only speak to Kamala," because they knew she would listen, because they knew she would help them find justice. And she did. That's the Kamala Harris I know. A few weeks ago in Massachusetts, I watched a little girl meet the vice president. Her eyes were so wide, as open as the future. Kamala asked her about the summer, her basketball
Family, I
camp,
just put a poll in the
and what
chat.
position she likes to
Who
play.
gonna win? Kamala
The little
Harris
girl
or
said to her,
Donald Trump?
anything but
Comment-
defense.
Well, select on the poll.
Kamala put her hand on her shoulder and replied, "Me too. I love offense." That's what it means to be for the people. Kamala Harris fights for all Americans. She stays on offense and she wins. And I know that she'll fight with the same passion, the same determination as President of the United States. I can't wait to see her prosecute the case against Donald Trump on the debate stage in September. We face a stark choice in this election: a felon and con man, or a dedicated prosecutor. The contrast between Donald Trump and Kamala Harris is clear. He obstructs justice. She upholds it. He swindles people. She serves them. He thinks he's above the law. She actually understands the law.
Does she understand election interference?
That's what this election comes down to. One candidate who's out for himself, or Kamala Harris for the people. It's a battle for the future of our nation. And tonight, we will prove beyond a reasonable doubt that Kamala Harris should be, she must be, the next President of the United States. Thank you.
Nobody want to vote? Kamala or Trump?
Please welcome survivor and advocate Courtney Baldwin.
Good evening, Chicago. I'm Courtney Baldwin. In 2013, I was sold for sex in cities across California by a trafficker who controlled every aspect of my life. During those dark moments, I held on to hope that one day I'd be seen as more than a victim, that I could pursue my dreams, and that my trafficker would be held justice. I didn't know it yet, but waiting for me on the other side were people who were fighting for survivors. One of them was Kamala Harris. As California's Attorney General, she fought Backpage.com, the website that let me and thousands of others be bought and sold. She filed criminal charges against its owner that shut down the website for good.
They spread so much messy propaganda, but it's like sometimes I don't know what's true or not.
Vice President Harris is fearless, compassionate, and she still gives me hope.
That's why I do research.
She's protected people like me her whole life. And I know she'll fight for us all as president. Thank you.
We have to wake up at 2 a.m. in the morning. It's the only way to beat the Phoenix heat. It's just like opening an oven. I work on the light rail. It's a good way to tackle the climate crisis, but the clock is ticking.
Climate change is one of the greatest con jobs ever. All of this with the global warming and a lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax.
Hurricane Beryl is the earliest Category 5 on record.
Climate change isn't a hoax, and it's not happening in the future. It's happening right here, right now.
Here in Phoenix, the most consecutive 110+ degree days in a row.
Trump is pouring gasoline on the fire.
He proceeded to solicit $1 billion from the fossil fuel companies because if elected, he would roll back environmental rules and repeal regulations.
Trump's Project 2025 agenda
Trump
gives
don't
tax
have
breaks to
nothing to
big
do with
oil
Project
and completely
2025.
tramples the middle class. Trump would gut clean energy jobs like mine.
Bro, his
This
policy
word
is
gives
literally
us
on his
security and economic freedom.
This is
Trump
crazy.
would rip that away. Kamala Harris sees the future differently. She's a clean energy champion. She took on big oil that gouged Americans. Harris was the deciding vote that passed Democrats' epic clean energy investments. Kamala will fight for climate and clean energy policies that protect our health and hold big polluters accountable.
The clock is not just ticking, it is banging. And that is why President Biden and I made the largest climate investment in America's history. We are not going back.
I was raised to care for my community. That means jobs for my guys and a clean energy future.
Please welcome former New Mexico Representative Deb Haaland.
In my Karis language, greetings, friends and family. My name is Kresh Turquoise, and I'm from the Turquoise Clan. 35 generations ago, my ancestors built lives in the high desert of New Mexico. I am on this stage tonight because of them. While fishing with my dad and running through the desert with my cousins, I learned that we have a responsibility to take care of our planet. Donald Trump never learned that lesson. He called the climate crisis a hoax. He made it easier for big companies to poison our air and water. An American president must lead the world in tackling climate change. We need a president who understands that assignment. That's Kamala Harris. I know her record. She held polluters accountable for spilling oil into the San Francisco Bay. She defended President Obama's Clean Power Plan in court.
Donald Trump said
And as vice president,
climate change is not a hoax, but not sure of its source. But he's sure that it'll change back again. That's what he said. Gotta do the fact checking, man. They be capping. They be lying.
Kamala Harris and Tim Walz will fight for a future where we all have clean air, clean water, and healthy communities. Let me go back to the lesson I learned in the desert Southwest. We all have a role in protecting our Earth for future generations. So let's all be fierce, and let's make Kamala Harris the next president of the United States. Thank you all so much. Thank you. Thank you.
So she going to sporadically just make everything
and
great.
Both parties are battling to prove that they stand with workers. But sometimes workers don't get the invite.
Do you know where the auto workers are?
I haven't seen anybody from the UAW.
Nobody from the UAW?
After we struggled to find any auto workers at Trump's rally for auto workers, we hit the road to find out what Democrats have been up to.
The Inflation Reduction Act is helping to fuel a boom in clean energy,
creating 9 million new clean energy jobs over the next 10 years, once in a generation investment.
I thought that American manufacturing was supposed to be dead. Here I am looking at one of the biggest auto mega plants being built
We talked to workers in rural Tennessee who joined a union for the first time to build one of the largest battery plants in the country.
We have 20-year-old people thinking about their future. We never did that.
I got things now that I never thought I could have. Generational wealth, I'm working on that.
Medical, dental, vision, pension, something to fall back on.
Generational wealth is just something to say.
We went to Vegas,
It's a talking
where union
point, something
workers
that
are
sound
building
good.
America's first high-speed rail. To Lordstown, Ohio, where auto workers who lost their jobs under Trump returned to work at a new battery plant.
This could be the future. This could bring industry back to Lordstown. We saw it in its heyday, and here we are. We have the opportunity to make the battery.
And Milwaukee, where workers are replacing every lead pipe in the city.
It helps with the struggle. You don't have to struggle with 2 or 3 jobs. You know, you can maintain with 1 job. This is my own neighborhood.
This is your own neighborhood?
Yes. Makes me feel good because I'm giving back something.
It's easy for stories like these to get drowned out by fake worker rallies at non-union plants.
Does anybody know that there's a Donald Trump event just an hour away from here? Yes? No? No. Was anybody invited to it?
But over the last 4 years, only one party has invested trillions in clean energy, bringing back manufacturing and rebuilding infrastructure, putting workers at the center of it all. And this is just the start.
Please welcome John Russell.
Hello, America. Thank you to the workers that make this convention happen. Let's never forget how essential all of our labor is. I come from Appalachia.
I ain't never heard of that.
We kept the lights on in this country for generations. But the wealth made by our broken backs and our black lungs never did trickle down. And Washington listened to rich men demanding that we stick with dirty energy at any cost. Across the country, working class people are looking for a political home after years of both parties putting profit above people. Now, Trump, a billionaire, says that he'll take on the elites, but then he promises handouts to big oil, and he punches down at anyone with the guts to be different. But populism that insists we are too different to get along is just divide and conquer by a different name. There's another sort of populism with roots in this party that we in West Virginia know well. They called us rednecks back in the 1920s because striking workers from all different races wore red bandanas around their necks as they fought and died for respect and a living wage. Their fight yesterday is our fight right now. Right now. It is our choice to build on this progress and to create a political home for the mass of working Americans fighting for control over their government, their workplaces, and their planet. And it is our moment to live up to. Let's get after it. Thank you very much.
Don't know why, but I feel like
When our team of students passed one of the first climate justice policies in our nation, Vice President Kamala Harris showed up.
She came to highlight our initiative because she believes in us.
Last year, my dad retired after spending more than 30 years working at one of our country's most polluting power plants. Donald Trump doesn't care about people like my dad. I know Vice President Harris will put working families ahead of big oil billionaires.
Kamala Harris approaches climate policy through the eyes of future generations, like mine.
As new voters and as new leaders, I'm excited to join Harris in the fight for our future.
Please welcome Florida Representative Maxwell Frost.
generation in Congress. I'm also proud to represent Central Florida. You might expect me to talk about how climate change will impact our future. But as a Floridian, as a Florida man, I'm here to tell you that the climate crisis isn't some far-off threat. It is here. Donald Trump and J.D. Vance think they can divide us by saying this crisis is some type of hoax. But I've walked the streets of communities that have been forced to rebuild after hurricane flooding destroyed their homes. I've heard the stories of immigrant farm workers made to work in horrid conditions exacerbated by this crisis. And I felt the scorching record heat and know that climate change can sometimes feel like an unstoppable force. But with our movement and with organizing and an administration that cares, we are making progress. Kamala Harris and Joe Biden have proven that tackling this crisis creates jobs, that investing in clean energy protects our health, and that investing in mass public transit builds strong communities. And we must always remember that peace is essential to our climate and war destroys our environment. This election is about every drop of water that we consume and every breath we breathe. Fighting the climate crisis is patriotic. And unlike Donald Trump, our patriotism is more than some damn slogan on a hat. It's about actually giving a damn about the people who live in this country. Because when you love somebody, you want them to have clean air. When you love somebody, you want them to have safe drinking water. And when you love somebody, you want them to have a dignified job. And so, America, it's simple. Let's get to work and elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz for our planet, for our future, for our present, and for our people. God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, if y'all are ready to set Madam Vice President and keep her in the White House, let me hear you make some noise! Say, and every time I hit the everybody's hands go. Let me see. And they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there, and they say yeah, and they stay there, and they. I want to hear you nice and loud, Chicago. Are there any union workers here today? Make some noise. Are there any teachers in this building? Make some noise. Now everybody hands up, Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I'm DJ Metro. We'll be back for more.
What's up, everybody? Stephen Curry here. I know you all know I play for the Golden State Warriors, but man, what a great honor it was to represent Team USA and go out there and win that gold medal at the Olympics this summer. And that unity on and off the court reminded us all that together we can do all things and continue to inspire the world. That's why I believe that Kamala, as president, could bring that unity back and continue to move our country forward. This is about preserving hope and belief in our country, making sure families can be taken care of during their most precious times. I got to visit Kamala with my team in the White House last year, and I can tell you one thing I knew then, and I definitely know now. The Oval Office suits her well. So in the words of Michelle Obama, do something. Go vote. Be active. Let's show out in November like never before. It's been an honor for me to represent our country. It's an honor to support Kamala, so let's all do our part. God bless.
Please welcome
Stick to
Democratic
basketball,
nominee for
partner.
U.S. Congress in Alabama, Shamari Figures.
Good evening, America. And hello, sweet home Alabama. I am running for Alabama's 2nd Congressional District. This is the district that gave America the Tuskegee Airmen, Rosa Parks, Fred Gray, and it is the birthplace of the civil rights movement in Montgomery, Alabama. And of course, this district is home to Mr. Good Trouble himself, Congressman John Lewis. Look, my pathway to this stage was paved by a legacy of fighters. Fighters that include my mother, Alabama State Senator Vivian Davis Figures, who is here at her 11th DNC. And it also includes my father, my late father, Michael Figures, who was also a state senator and civil rights lawyer who sued the Klan into bankruptcy. Listen, all of America, all of us owe a debt to courageous freedom fighters, both known and unknown, a debt that can never be repaid. But what we can do is ensure that the work of those fighters who came before us continues, and that our sacred right to vote is always protected. Kamala Harris gets this. She's working to protect our freedoms every single day. And that's why she will sign into law the John Robert Lewis Voting Rights Act once it is introduced again by Congresswoman Terry Sewell. Listen, America, a California poet named Kendrick Lamar recently reminded us that sometimes we gotta pop out and show them. Well, America, it's time we pop out and vote. It's time we pop out from California to Alabama and all across America, and we show them that we are not going back. We are going forward, and we are going forward with Kamala Harris as the next president of the United States of America. Thank you. God bless you. Roll Tide. Let's go win this thing.
That man feel good just shouting all that stuff out.
As I close out my segment tonight, I got to send a quick message. Madrecita querida, I love you. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz understand what everyday Americans are going through because unlike Donald Trump, they actually grew up in families where every dollar mattered, where everything was earned and nothing was handed to them. Our next speaker knows something about that too. Please welcome my dear friend, our fellow Texan, our next senator, Representative Colin Allred.
All right.
Hey, everybody. I'm Colin Allred, a congressman from Dallas, dad to 2 perfect little boys. And this November, I'm going to beat Ted Cruz.
He corny. He's corny for that.
Proud to be here.
Gonna be Ted
Support
Cruz.
our next president,
Be yourself.
Kamala Harris. You know, like Kamala, I was raised by a single mom. Mom was a public school teacher who often worked 2 jobs to make ends meet. So when we talk about lowering costs, I think about the times when we went to the grocery store when I was growing up and swiped the debit card and said a little prayer. But my mom and my community in Texas gave me a chance to chase my version of the American dream. I played football at Baylor and in the NFL before becoming a civil rights lawyer, and representing my hometown in Congress. Now I'm the guy who's going to turn Texas' Senate seat blue.
Oh, man. Texas ain't going that easy, brother.
You know, in the NFL, we had a term for guys like Donald Trump and my opponent, Ted Cruz. Me guys. You know the type. Talk a big game, only care about themselves, but you don't want to be stuck with them at a barbecue. The truth is, America has never been about me. As President Obama said, the single most powerful word in our democracy is the word we. We the people. We shall overcome. Yes, we can. And we've got a message for the me guys. We is more powerful than me. We will protect and restore reproductive freedom. We will secure the border. We'll protect Medicare and Social Security.
Oh, they're going to secure the
and we'll
border.
turn the page and write a new chapter for
Joe
this
Biden
country.
said him and Kamala
Elect Kamala Harris
from
be the next
illegals,
president
immigrants.
and beat Ted Cruz.
This is crazy,
Thank y'all
bro.
so much. God bless you.
We got
And may
conflicted
God bless
messages
Texas.
everywhere. This is wild. I can't wait to hear her speech, bro. This is just crazy, man.
I'm Anya Cook. This is my husband, Derek, and our daughter, Anaya. 2 years ago, a miscarriage nearly killed me. At 16 weeks, my doctors told me to prepare for a stillbirth. I needed care. But my state's abortion restrictions kept it from me. I miscarried in a bathroom. I'll never forget my husband's face as he tried to stop the bleeding, trying to do what doctors should have been doing. When I reached the hospital, I'd lost nearly half the blood in my body. I can't change the past, but we can choose a different future.
I mean, it was a fortunate situation, but we were supposed to stop her miscarriage.
I'm Craig Sicknick, and this is my mother, Gladys. My brother was a U.S. Capitol Police officer, Brian Sicknick, a hero who died after defending our country on January 6th.
Y'all with the very people that don't treat y'all heroes right. Like, they don't do good by veterans to me, bro. They really don't. Veterans are starving right now, homeless.
My family knows how dangerous Trump is. He incited the crowd, while my brother and his fellow officers were putting their lives at risk. We need a real leader, not an autocrat who is stuck in the past. Brian, we miss you every day.
The Democrats are stuck in the past. They keep singing that same old song of a race war
I'm
that's not
Gail
here,
DeBoer.
that don't exist.
I've had type 1 diabetes since I was 11. Stressing about insulin cost has been a constant in my life. President Biden and Vice President Harris have moved mountains to help. Medicare can finally negotiate prescription drug prices. Insulin is capped at $35 for Medicare recipients. And when elected, Kamala Harris plans to extend that cap to the rest of us.
They're trying to cap a lot of things, man.
I want. That's the future I am voting for.
You better learn economics, honey, before you say that.
I'm Wani Romero, owner and CEO of Mothership Coffee in Las Vegas. I put in work to build my business. When COVID hit, this administration's support kept us moving. I hired staff and we grew. We've more than doubled in size since the pandemic, and it's just not us. Over the last 4 years, 19 million new business applications have been filed. Like Trump, I grew up in Queens, but unlike him, I built my business with grit. That's my story. That's the American story. Let's turn the page on Trump.
Trump the one that kept your business booming during a hard time.
I'm Eric Fitz, and these are my sons, Christian and Carter. I always try to set an example for my boys, to teach them compassion, accountability, and resilience. I want those values to be reflected in our leaders. I don't want to have to turn off the TV because our president is lobbing insults or telling lies. I'm tired of all of the hate. It's time to move forward together and build a country our kids can be proud of.
He tired of all the hate, but he with the very party that spreads lies, propaganda, and call it a race war. Still playing identity politics, but he tired of all the hate. Boy, you don't even know what you voting for right now, or know what you supporting, because you just led your children into ignorance. I'm sorry. That's wild. That's okay, I'll forgive him though. This whole Democratic National Convention has been a crazy show. It's been a disaster. But
Please welcome the Bulls official drumline, Chicago's own Pack Drumline.
we got a drum line in this joint. I'm convinced that they were about putting on a good show more than policies being advocated. I think that's the only way they know how to engage with the people. I don't think they know how to engage any other way besides entertainment. Their only entertainment is music, bro. All this whole thing is about race, boy. Entertainment. I'm turning it down due to copyright purposes, family, but Kamala Harris, I'm not voting for this lady, bro. I'm sorry, I'm not doing it. I'm not going. Whoever going, bro, I'm sorry, bro, but this is crazy, bro. This entertainment is crazy. I ain't buying this entertainment, bruh. I like to have the hard head conversations, you feel me? And they not trying to do that, bruh. They trying to sell you. Oh, they having a whole nother party. Oh, now they paying from the window to the walls, huh? Sweat drop down they drawers. That's what we playing now? Okay. Okay. This is not classy, bro. This is a messy show, bro. Bro. Well, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it, man.
Question to you, who you thought it would be, who you thought the special guest tonight would be, and 55% of you voted for Beyonce. So whoever did that, the 55% of you were right.
It was a no-brainer, bro.
Continue airing all of this on live now from Fox on Night for as we await Vice President Kamala Harris to formally accept the Democratic nomination for president. But in the meantime, back out there onto the floor at the DNC.
Oh, nah, copyright. How y'all feel about Beyonce performing tonight at this convention, bro? Give me you guys' thoughts and perspective. It's one person one person viewing. Comment down below your perspective, man, in the chat. I'm curious. I don't really check for her music, so. Do you even listen to Beyonce, bro? Do you feel like it's even worth her performing, bro? Like, please answer. Music is trash nowadays to me. It's about views and likes. And people got a squirrel attention span, so. You gotta have a song at least 2 minutes nowadays. Oh, they still going. Now they got countrified music. But music ain't the same. I don't check for Beyonce. We already know when she had her little campaign commercial with Beyonce in it. Of course, no brainer wise, she was gonna be a special guest, right? Well, let's just be real. This song that she using, or a lot of songs, are basically used to push agendas nowadays for views and likes, because people ain't really buying music or checking for music like that. So I feel like that's the most lucrative way to make music in the music industry. I feel like from a business perspective when it comes to individuals in the music industry, but they just grabbing and scrambling and scraping and picking up all these people just to go talk about Kamala for the people. So they scrambling and scraping for people to speak that actually give value in regards of the best interest of the American people, besides telling a story. So That's how I'm looking at it, as they keep having their little festivity involving this little DJ and the partying and the entertainment. So, and as they wave flags along the whole convention. So, all I can do is shake my head, man. I'm speechless as hell. I ain't even gonna lie to you. So, this what we doing now? That's all I gotta say. This man clapping away like he had a whole... They might as well pick a protester to go up there and talk. That's outside of there. Since it's Democrats versus Democrats, you know what I'm saying? Tim Waltz at a party, boy. Look at him. They still playing music. Who is this DJ, bro? Or is his music whack? So, family, I want to know how y'all feel. Do y'all feel like anybody said anything valuable? I feel like a lot of people just talking just to talk in this joint. So, all these flags at this event, huh? Now they party in the USA. The joy is not... This is not joyful, bro. Well, I guess they just zoned in and locked in on their patriotic music. Patriotic music, house music, country music, all types of themes of music, man. So, I wonder who gonna be the next person to speak this gibberish. This is the longest break of this joint. Bro, they still playing their house music. Look. This is crazy, bro. They went from patriotic to house music to Bro, this is wild. What is this band? Who is this band? Who is these individuals? So, I feel like they could have got a better band than that, bro. Since they go on the entertainment route. This is crazy. Just waiting and waiting and waiting. Didn't they have like a person come up that was being translated? And this DJ in this event, right? Who is this DJ, bro? If they going on identity politics, why they didn't just go identity politic wise on their DJ? Cause this DJ trash. They going all over the place. They got the flags waving. They had Lil Jon perform yesterday. It's just crazy. But now it's just no music. This is crazy.
Please stand if you are able and welcome winners of 13 Grammy Awards and the biggest selling U.S. female group of all time, the Chicks.
The Chicks. I ain't never heard of these people. Oh, they singing the Pledge of Allegiance now. They went from house music to the Pledge of Allegiance, bro. This is crazy.
Who's brought stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched.
I wonder, do they still even do this in school? Like, I remember when they had before class started, as soon as we got into school, especially in middle school and stuff, high school, sung the Pledge of Allegiance. You had to stand up in the classroom before the school day started. I wonder, do they still do that? It's type weird because they do the Pledge of Allegiance on like middle school and high school, and then when you get to college, it's like you don't do it no more. So it's just like because of diversity, equity, and inclusion type of thing. Because I'm confused. So who we got going to speak next after the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please welcome Kerry Washington.
So we got Kerry Washington, man. The individual that, Kerry Washington is the valuable source. If you want to have her talk, I guess.
Welcome to the final night of the Democratic National Convention. The last 3 nights have been extraordinary. And tonight, we hear from our next president, Kamala Harris. Now, as I stand here, I know that there are folks on social media already saying, go back to your TV show, shut up and act. But I am not here tonight as an actor. I am here as a mother, as a daughter, as a proud union member. I am here as the granddaughter of immigrants, as a black woman descended from enslaved people. I am here tonight are stronger when all our voices are heard. Look, I know that I am the one standing on this stage, but I am not the lead character in this story. You are. All of you. You are the messengers. You are the fixers. Dare I say it, you are the Olivia Popes. You are the superheroes saving this democracy. It is you, not me, who have the greatest power to convince your loved ones to vote. So, just like Michelle Obama told us, let's do something. Let's make a video. Everybody take out your phones. Everybody take out your phones. We're gonna make a moment. Can somebody bring me my phone?
Well, she want everybody to take their phones out.
This historic moment and share it with the people that we love.
So that's her scandal boyfriend in the show Scandal.
We're gonna take this video, guys. We're all gonna take it together. We're gonna post it to social media, text your friends, send this message out into the world. When I say when we fight, you're gonna say? Are you ready? Okay, let's record. We're recording. You ready, Tony?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay, ready? When we fight! When we fight! When we fight! Are you ready for Kamala Harris to win? Good, because when Kamala wins, America wins. We did it! We did it, Joe. Thank you, Tony.
I don't get to stay?
No, you gotta go.
Bye, everybody.
Tony, go!
That was just cringy as hell. Her sneaky links ass boyfriend in Scandal gotta go. Okay.
So listen, it's come to my attention that there are some folks who struggle or pretend to struggle with the proper pronunciation of our future president's name. So, hear me out. Confusion is understandable. Disrespect is not. So tonight, we are going to help everyone get it right. Here to help me are some very special guests. Thank you, ladies. Can you tell us your names?
Hello, everybody. My name's Amara. And my name is Leela, her little sister.
And what are you here to do?
To teach you how to say your auntie's name.
Okay.
Well, are you serious right now?
How do you pronounce it?
You got these
First
little
you say
girls
comma
up here.
like a comma in a sentence. Then you say la like la 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 la.
Put it together and it's 1, 2, 3, Kamala. All right, so let's practice. Let's practice.
Everybody over here say comma. Everybody over here say la.
Together.
Well, I know they not having these little girls show these grown people how they pronounce Kamala. Bro, is this retarded? No, I'm not. Let me hear my comments to myself, bro. Look, this is cringe and crazy, bro. I'm acting like I didn't. I'ma just take it out of my memory, bro. I don't remember nothing that I just saw, bro. I don't remember nothing for this situation right here. No. This is crazy. Talk about, I'm gonna teach you how to say your auntie name. Like what, bro? Not my aunt, bro. What I'm talking about? You're vice president, bro. Like,
Please
that was
welcome
cringy.
Mina Harris, Ella Emhoff, and Helen Hudlin.
That was cringy, bro.
Hi, I'm Mina.
I'm Ella.
And I'm Helena. I grew up in Oakland, California. in a house full of extraordinary women. My mom, my grandma, and my auntie, who showed me the meaning of service, helping her sister, a 17-year-old single mom, fighting for justice for the American people, and still cooking Sunday family dinner. She guided me, now she's guiding my own children, and I know she'll guide our country forward.
Kamala came into my life when I was 14. Famously a very easy time for a teenager. Like a lot of young people, I didn't always understand what I was feeling. But no matter what, Kamala was there for me. She was patient, caring, and always took me seriously. She's never stopped listening to me, and she's not gonna stop listening to all of us.
Kamala Harris is my godmother. To me, her advice means everything. Whether it's pursuing my passions,
do they even really know
making
Kamala,
an
or they
impact,
just like
or
making it
finding
up?
hope when the world doesn't feel so hopeful. She taught me that
Only the
making a
world would know.
difference means giving your whole heart and taking action.
She's fighting for economic opportunity, LGBTQ+ equality, and reproductive freedom, because we are not going back.
She's fighting for social justice.
I know the lady in the white is the
justice,
stepdaughter.
environmental justice. And she isn't alone. We're all in this fight together.
So let's keep up the...
Okay.
Hey now, hey Chicago, how y'all doing? What's happening in California? Now, wait, where those AKAs at? Where they at? You know what? In 3 months, ain't gonna be no living with y'all. I can tell you this, I don't blame Donald Trump for not wanting to debate Kamala. I've been married to a black woman for 40 years and
I
ain't
heard
won
she
one
dropped
debate.
out of the debate.
I'm owing 93,000. Now, of course, Trump is saying that Kamala isn't black. I guarantee you this, Kamala's been black a lot longer than Trump's been a Republican.
Now we know he's a stand-up comedian, so.
And if he keeps sliding in the polls the way he is, the only way he can keep Kamala out of the White House is if he buys it and refuses to rent it to her. Of course, Kamala's getting broad support. They got black men for Kamala, white men for Kamala, Latinos and Asians for Kamala. They even have Republicans for Kamala. Republicans for Kamala. I guess Donald Trump will finally know what it's like when you get left for a younger woman.
Bro, where did you get that hat from, bro? Are you serious?
But seriously, Kamala knows the truth about the American dream, that hard work is not enough. Hard work alone is not enough to succeed. That you need access and information and opportunity. And she knows that some folks are often denied those very things. As president, she will give each and every one of us a fair shot in life. But I have to admit, I didn't always believe that. I mean, if you told me the 15-year-old me would be on stage supporting a prosecutor and a teacher, there is no way that I would have believed you. But because of that, I made assumptions about Kamala's record. And I often repeated them to a lot of people. Then one day, Kamala invited me to her house. She put her hand on my shoulder, and she asked me to do some research. Something I had never done. Something a lot of people I know had never done before. Imagine attacking someone's character without a single Google search. So I did what I should have done in the first place. I learned that she had done for us exactly what she promised to.
You know you do
I believe that
research.
your apology should be as loud as your accusation, and I'm here apologizing in front of the whole damn world. I am. I was wrong.
I was wrong, and I'm so very glad I was wrong because, Kamala, you give me hope for the future, a future where my grandchildren, Nola and Stevie, had the freedom to control their own bodies, where they have the opportunity to go as far as their wits and their talents would take them. That future, ladies and gentlemen, is possible, but only if we elect Kamala Harris as the 47th President of the United States of America. I will say this to you. The best piece of advice I've ever gotten in my entire life is you don't have to know what you will do, just know what you won't. And we won't go back.
That sounds so cringy. Don't know what you will do, but know what you want. So how you know what you're gonna do? So now you just don't live with attention, just know what you want. What the world? Making sense. Well, somebody voted Kamala in the chat. Okay. Tell me why you think Kamala gonna win in the chat.
In the coming weeks, I want us to find ways to maintain this energy and this joy and this commitment, because there will be days when the work ahead seems impossible. And when that happens, I know what I do. I get involved. I get engaged. I ask myself, how can I be of service to my community? Because community is why we do this. Am I right? Yes, we do this for our children, for our parents, for our teachers and care workers who treat our loved ones like their own. We do this for working families who make this country thrive. We do this for the planet and for each other. We do this for justice and for peace and for democracy. And as we are about to hear, we do this for the safety of our communities.
Okay, who we about to hear in regards to the safety?
Please welcome Genesee County, Michigan Sheriff Chris Swanson.
My job is to protect people, all people. In 2020, righteous anger spilled over into the streets of Flint, Michigan. One bad decision from either side, and there would have been bloodshed. But that didn't happen. We laid down our riot gear, and we embraced the community, and instead of hate, we chose hope. On January 6th, the opposite occurred. That day was paved with division, deceit, and denigration. Police officers were attacked that day. It could have been stopped. We need a leader who will embody what's affixed to all three sides of my sheriff patrol cars: protect, serve, and unify. Kamala Harris is that leader. As a prosecutor, Kamala Harris protected us by putting violent criminals and sex offenders behind bars. If I was in a courtroom, she's exactly the tough prosecutor that I'd want to see. As vice president, she served America by keeping us safer. And I can testify firsthand, where I come from, crime is down and police funding is up. As president, Kamala Harris will unify our country. She will bring us together, because our country needs a leader.
Bro, how they reel this sheriff in? I'm curious.
With drug cartels and bullies. One who has already taken the oath, raised her right hand to advocate for the people. I can tell you, in 2020, we were able to turn a protest into a peaceful movement by walking together. One city, one community, and one country. America, let's walk. Let's walk. Let's walk together and let's elect Kamala Harris and turn hate into hope yet again. Thank you.
Well, I can't listen to him. I'm gonna get dumber. I'm just being honest with y'all.
We were contemplating adopting, and then, out of nowhere, I got pregnant. Jordan was so much fun as a child.
When all of a sudden...
Oh my God, somebody's shooting!
3 of those rounds he aimed at Jordan. Jordan didn't deserve to die that way.
Reports of an active shooter at a high school.
These students have now lived through so many of these shootings since they were born almost.
We were praying and crying. I don't know how we're alive.
An active shooter at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas. Multiple children have been killed.
Most of the body so mutilated that only DNA tests or green Converse could identify.
Trump did nothing on guns and was proud of it.
There was great pressure on me. We did nothing.
After a mass shooting in Iowa, Trump said,
I have to get over it.
"You never get over it." Kamala Harris and Joe Biden refused to get over it. As district attorney, she got illegal guns off the street. As Attorney General, she took on transnational crime rings and stopped gun trafficking. As Vice President, she helped pass the most sweeping gun violence legislation in 3 decades, keeping guns out of the hands of criminals, expanding background checks, closing loopholes.
We'll finally pass red flag laws, universal background checks, and an assault weapons ban.
Kamala understands the fight we're in.
The power is with the people.
And gives people like me, survivors like me, hope.
When I worked for Every Town
Please
for Gun
welcome
Safety.
Georgia Representative Lucy McBath.
When I worked for Every Town for Gun Safety and Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America, I saw firsthand the power of telling our stories. You've just heard mine, but there are many more to tell.
On December 14th, 2012, I walked into Sandy Hook School. I stopped at the office, chatted with my principal, then started my day with my second graders. Suddenly, a loud crash, like metal folding chairs falling. 154 gunshots blaring. Hiding in the coats, trying to sing with my students, trying to read to them, trying to drown out the sounds. Terror, crying, running. I carry that horrific day with me. 20 beautiful first grade children and 6 of my beautiful colleagues were killed. They should still be here.
It's 10:30 a.m. at Robb Elementary in Uvalde. The school is recognizing my 10-year-old daughter, Lexi, for receiving all A's. She receives a Good Citizen Award, and we pose for photos. She wears a St. Mary's sweatshirt and a smile that lights up the room. 30 minutes later, a gunman murders her, 18 classmates, and 2 teachers. We are taken to a private room where police tell us she isn't coming home. Uvalde is national news. Parents everywhere reach for their children. I reach out for the daughter I will never hold again.
My niece, Sandy Patrice, was 22. She drove to Myrtle Beach for sun and fun and motorcycle parades. Hours later, my phone rang. Shooting on the beach. No one can find Sandy. I stayed calm. You see, my mother, Patricia Ann, had been shot and killed by an abusive partner. I was calm then too. I got to handling business. I called relatives, the police, hospitals, and I kept calling, voice steady, heartbeat pulsing. Then I was connected to the coroner. 10 years of waiting, and Sandy's murder is still unsolved. I'll keep calling, and I'll keep fighting.
I was in high school when my classmate got shot. It changed my story. Instead of worrying about taking a test, I started worrying about living to take another test. They say schools are for learning, and I did learn a lot that day. I learned how to run, how to hide and drop, that what happens in the news can happen to me. But I learned something else too, that we can write and must write a new story if we choose to.
Ours are stories of loss. But make no mistake, our losses do not weaken us. They strengthen our resolve. We will secure safer futures that we all deserve. We will organize. We will advocate. We will run for office. And we will join with Americans from small towns and big cities to keep our communities safe. And we will elect leaders like Kamala Harris, who won't just empathize, but will act.
Bro, it's like 300 million odd guns out there, man. You ain't gonna just hit a button and then just dissipate like that.
Representative Gabby Giffords.
You got criminals coming in, you got illegal immigrants, you got gangs coming in. There's so many odd guns out there, and this individual that's coming up, unfortunately, she got shot in a rally. Shot at. But I feel like the best way for America is just self-defense. If you have someone who's cuckoo, so to say, you know what I mean?
I'm Gabby
was born in the great state of Arizona. I was born with grit. I grew up racing motorcycles, mucking stalls, and exploring the beautiful desert. I fell for an astronaut. For 5 years, I served in Congress from a swing district. Everybody called me a rising star.
People can't
January
commit
8th,
self-defense
2011,
and be
a
armed
man
to
tried
protect
to
themselves from
assassinate
someone who
me.
may be a
He
cuckoo,
shot
then
19
it's just gonna
people.
power
He
the
killed
cuckoo,
6.
which is the person that's the criminal,
Terrible,
to be able
terrible
to
day.
defeat the
I
regular
almost
American
died,
that's not out here
but I
doing
fought for my
criminal
life,
things, right?
and I survived.
And be trained on the weapon.
I learned
I'm
to
ready.
walk
You know what I'm
again,
saying?
one step at a time.
That's what I would say,
one
just from a
word
self-defense
at a time.
standpoint, using it for the
So
right
many
reason.
people helped me
But
as I worked hard to recover, including a decent man for Delaware who always checked in. He still does. Thank you, Joe Biden. Thank you for everything. Joe is a great president. My friend
she said, forget that
Kamala will
teleprompter.
be
She
a
gonna read
great
off of the
president.
iPad.
She is tough. She has grit. Kamala can beat the gun lobby. She can fight gun trafficking.
Her name is Gabby Giffords.
Kamala stood
Who's
up to
speaking
Wall
now?
Street and the drug company. She will protect abortion access. She will defend our freedom. She saved lives. Join me in voting for Kamala Harris. Bravo! Thank you.
So if she get rid of guns, she's superior, right? What about the criminals that got guns? All the odd guns that's still out there. How's she gonna find those?
I had the honor of meeting Vice President Harris when I got to introduce her when she spoke at my high school about gun violence. Parkland happened, and all I could think about
I just want to know how she gonna get rid of all
On
these
July 4th,
guns.
2022, I was next in line to walk
These
in
odd
Highland
guns
Park
out there.
Independence
It's
State
300.
Parade,
It's
and
like
gunshots
300
erupted.
million, man.
7 people were shot and killed,
I
and 40
want to
people
know
were
how she
injured.
gonna do
Vice
it.
President Harris has been a gun sense champion since she was our California AG.
We have two options in November. We have Kamala Harris, who has already proven her leadership in the Biden-Harris administration. They passed the first ever comprehensive
Bro,
gun
what's
vote
she
in
gonna
30
speak,
years.
bro?
Meanwhile, Donald Trump has cozied up to the NRA and the gun lobby.
I have full confidence in Vice President Harris that she's dedicated to and committed to finding a solution to end gun violence.
I want to know their gun violence plan in regards of just passing a law and think
Please
it's just
welcome
automatically going to
three-time
just proof just be
Grammy-winning
implemented.
singer-songwriter
I want to
and
know how they're going to
global
implement
pop
these
icon,
things, bro. They just be
Pink.
saying these things, bro. Bro, I'm lowering it due to copyright purposes. You know how many things that are coming wrong with terrorists, criminals, and everything coming across the border with guns and drugs being all shipped and transported, bro? How you going to stop something in a poof of a button, supposedly in her view, if they're constantly coming in on top of the odd guns that's out there and drugs? There's a whole Venezuela migrant gang that come over here. And as soon as you think you're stopping the violence, you're inviting it at the same time. So it's like, I don't get it, bro. How is that good for the American people? So, And that's why I say self-defense have to be incorporated for the American people, because look what they're inviting in with the open borders, right? So if she want to get rid of gun violence, you got to close the illegals from coming in and the criminals that's coming in from a Venezuelan gang. So, and not, then it's not fair to get rid of the entirety of guns, and then Americans can't defend themselves when you invited these criminals in. It's hypocritical, bro. Don't make sense. The whole purpose of a gun is to defend yourself. You know. Not try to inflict harm or take somebody's life, or, you know. So, bad people that's in America and you trying to defend your country, your family, your home, yourself, that's the whole purpose of a gun. Because the criminals going to do what they're going to do. It's always the criminals that stay alive, not the victims. You ever realize that? Even in a car crash, for instance, the criminals always stay alive and they go walk away with no scratches. So even if you do incorporate this gun policy, the criminals are going to outgun your whole policy, because there's still odd guns out there, like I said. So it's crazy, man. It's crazy. And then they got guns with switches. It ain't no regular pistol gun that, you know, if you did get one as an American for self-defense, because a pistol, obviously, versus a gun with a switch that legals may have, that which is the criminal, the bad actor, that you trying to defend yourself against, they got a whole switch to obviously outpace you in the rhythm of how the gun is being shooting, because you got a basic pistol, they got a gun with a switch, and then it shoots off, and then what? You at a disadvantage, right? So I don't get it. And then Kamala talk about buybacks and miniature buybacks and all that. I don't know how she gonna do this gun policy. It just sound crazy. She never know how she gonna implement something. She never explains it. It's like you pass a policy and it's gonna automatically poof, just happen. So it's wild to me. It's not reality. I don't feel like she can't connect with reality as much.
Security and global prosperity depend on the leadership of the United States of America. And a strong America remains indispensable to the world. Our democratic ideals of freedom and liberty inspire billions, and our military is the strongest in the world. Our military is a force that underwrites global stability and our national security.
Please welcome Arizona Senator Mark Kelly.
Let's see what this brother gonna say.
Hello, Chicago. Hello, Democrats. So, President Obama had to follow Michelle. I had to follow Gabby and Pink. Gabby amazes me every single day. She was able to walk out and address you tonight because she's a fighter.
Don't forget about joy.
And thanks
you bring joy too,
to a
right?
team of doctors,
Joy
nurses,
is the strongest emphasis.
and
This whole
especially her speech
convention.
therapist. We all need a team. I've flown into space 4 times. I've flown into combat nearly 40 times. Not once did I do that by myself. It took a team to accomplish a mission. It always does. I flew in the Navy during the first Gulf War. America rallied our allies.
I want to know what's the personal attack he gonna say on Trump.
Tyrant.
Watch this. I gotta see this.
Invaded a neighbor. Today, Vladimir Putin is testing whether we're still that strong. Iran, North Korea, and especially China watch closely. What's Trump's answer? He invited Russia to do, and these are his words, not mine, whatever the hell they want. Vice President Harris has always championed America's support for NATO, for Ukraine, and for the Ukrainian people. On the Senate Intelligence Committee, she investigated Russian interference in our election. She defends free and fair elections everywhere.
Stop the lies.
You already know how Trump feels about those. Donald Trump skipped his intelligence briefings. He was too busy sucking up to dictators and dreaming of becoming one himself. Trump thinks that Americans who have made the ultimate sacrifice are suckers and losers. If we fall for that again and make him the commander-in-chief, the only suckers would be us. Kamala Harris knows that standing with our allies means standing up for Americans. She'll keep modernizing our military to support our troops and to support our veterans like our next Vice President, Tim Walz. The world laughs at Trump, literally. But folks, it is not funny.
This retired individual not struggling, telling people who to vote for. He already lived most of his life when things were more practical, bro.
Are too serious.
It's crazy.
The sacrifices our service members make are too sacred. The alliances we've spent decades building are too critical. That's what's at stake now. And the choice isn't even close. But in Arizona and nationwide, this election will be. We'll win in the same way we launch rockets into space and land fighter jets on an aircraft carrier as one team on one mission. State by state, voter by voter, coming together. No country is better than ours at solving big problems.
This man said nothing substantial. Basically,
5th,
Kamala is this perfect person, and Trump is a trash person, and Kamala is perfect.
Today, by electing the
Donald
leader
Trump
we
is
need
a piece
right
of crap.
now,
Basically,
Kamala
that's what he's
Harris.
saying.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
That's all he said. This guy that's walking away now from the podium.
Please welcome former Secretary of Defense, Leon Panetta.
My fellow have served in the Army, the Congress, the White House, Chief of Staff, CIA Director, and Secretary of Defense. I've looked into the eyes of our warriors and deployed them into battle. I gave the order directing our Special Operations Forces to fly 2 helicopters 150 miles into Abbottabad at night. And by the time the sun rose, Osama bin Laden was dead. Because nobody attacks our country and gets away with it. Nobody. That's what our warriors do. That's what our warriors do. Our warriors need a tough, cool-headed commander-in-chief to defend our democracy from tyrants and terrorists. We need Kamala Harris behind the resolute desk. She knows a tyrant when she sees one. And our allies know a leader when they see one. On the Senate Intelligence Committee and as vice president, she worked with more than 150 world leaders. She's looked our allies in the eye and said, America has your back. Trump would abandon our allies and isolate America. We tried that in the 1930s. It was foolish and dangerous then, and it's foolish and dangerous now. Listen to President Reagan. President Reagan. Isolationism never was and never will be an acceptable response to tyrannical governments. Never. Trump tells tyrants
Kamala Harris will not be respected when it comes to foreign policy. She'll basically be disintegrated. So you keep voting for this woman to be commander-in-chief.
The hell you
Then
can.
you're delusional.
Not on my
That's
watch.
all I gotta say. That's delusion at all-time high.
She's worked with President Zelensky to fight back against Russia. She knows that protecting their democracy protects our democracy as well.
You think this woman gonna get anything done with Israel and Palestine when it comes to putting the guns down when she can't control the border? On top of it, the Biden administration been giving aid to Israel for how long?
And he does not understand the service and sacrifice of our military. Our fallen veterans are not suckers. They are not losers. They are our heroes.
She got one job as vice president and she can't do it. You really think she's gonna be able to do this foreign policy negotiation for the best interests of American people?
Our veterans.
No.
And in Tim Walz, we will have a vice president who has served in uniform honorably for 24 years. Kamala Harris understands this moment. It is a moment of danger and a moment of opportunity.
She need to do what she's good at.
America's military,
And
the
she's not
strongest
qualified to
in
me.
the world, the strongest ever known. And she understands what our military is for. The role of our military is to defend us from foreign enemies.
Kamala is nothing but a good event
Americans,
coordinator to
and
make
it
this
sure
free
as hell
entertainment
isn't
event
to put
convention that
immigrants in
she got, and that's it. You wanted to host your wedding with free entertainment or a top tier entertainment? That's what you could get her for this, but not no darn president. Sorry.
Every
I'm not going.
Every
Sorry.
president.
You want to host your little son party? You
World War
could
II,
do that, but not no president.
Republican and Democrat has shared the belief that America must protect democracy in the world. Every president has honored our veterans and their sacrifices. Every president, but one. So we face a critical choice: to vote for someone who stands with our military and stands up for democracy, or someone who will disrespect our heroes and undermine our democracy. My fellow Americans, there is only one choice. One choice. And let me tell you something. When she takes her oath of office, as she will this January, our allies will cheer, our enemies will fear, and we will have a commander-in-chief that we can trust. God bless our veterans, and God bless our country.
Please welcome Arizona Representative Ruben Gallego.
I'm a dad, husband, congressman, and the proudest Arizonan you'll ever meet. But I am even prouder to be a Marine. Hurrah! My mom raised us alone on a secretary's salary. I slept on the floor. I worked every job I could: meat packing, construction, making pizzas. I made it to Harvard with no money or connections. Other kids were happy because they were at Harvard. I was happy because I finally had a mattress. Then I enlisted, fought alongside my brothers with Lima 325 in Iraq. They called us Lucky Lima, but our luck ran out. We saw some of the heaviest combat of the war. And when we got home, the government failed to help us readjust. We have a duty to care for our patriots who serve our nation. For the Vietnam veteran in Buckeye who relies on the VA for his medication. For the Afghan veteran in Pittsburgh who finally got treatment for his PTSD. For the Marine in Milwaukee who relies on the benefits she earned. For my Navajo brothers and sisters who serve the Marines with me, I remember you too. Kamala Harris and Tim Walz are fighting for them. Kamala Harris has
Tim
delivered
Walz didn't
more
even want to
benefits
go to Iraq.
more veterans
He
than
backed
ever
out.
before, and has achieved the lowest veterans
So-
unemployment rate in history. Vice President Harris has stood up for us and our families always. Tim Walz served for 24 years. His passion for veterans earned him respect on both sides of the aisle, and he stands with us too. In fact, let me introduce you to some of the many Democrats who understand what service means, because we put country over politics. We were proud to wear the uniform. And we're proud serving our countries in city halls, state capitals, the U.S. House, and the Senate. These veterans represent the best of our country. We stand united as veterans, Democrats, and patriots to fight for everyone who serves. But
But politicians like Donald Trump, they don't stand with us. They call patriots like Senator McCain losers. John McCain was an American hero. Show some respect. Trump's Project 2025 will slash veteran benefits and force VA hospitals to close across the nation. Show some respect. So, for the 18-year-old who decides to enlist, for the families like mine who prayed every night that their loved one would come home, for our troops stationed thousands of miles away, for my Marines of Lima Company, let's elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz, who don't just respect our service, but revere it. Because the veterans who defended this country aren't just the reason we can sleep at night. They're the reason we can dream. And together, we'll fight for our veterans and everyone who served our country. Thank you.
Respects to the veterans, man.
Please welcome Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer.
I'm Governor Gretchen Whitmer. In Lansing, they call me governor. But in Detroit, they call me Big Gretch. Donald Trump called me that woman from Michigan as an insult. Being a woman from Michigan is a badge of honor. Like women across America, we just GSD. Get stuff done. At 29, I joined the sandwich generation. Sandwiched between working and raising my newborn and caring for my mom, who was dying from brain cancer. It was hard, but not extraordinary. It's life. Those nights reminded me who I was fighting for. People just trying to make it. Kamala Harris knows who she's fighting for, too. She took care of her mom, who also battled cancer. As president, she'll fight to lower the cost of health care and elder care for every family. She's lived a life like ours. She knows us. Donald Trump doesn't know you at all. You think he understands that when your car breaks down, you can't get to work? No. His first word was probably chauffeur. You think he's ever had to take items out of the cart before checking out? Hell, you think he's ever been to a grocery store? That's That's what the chauffeur is for. But Kamala Harris, she gets us. She sees us. She is us. Look, we've all lived through a lot of history over the past few years. Floods and fires, an attempted coup, a plot, and a pandemic. It's exhausting. We don't know what the next 4 years will bring, but what we do know is this. Through it all, your life won't stop. You're gonna have to get to work, pick up the kids, and pay your bills. And then one day, when you're just trying to get everyone out the door, a news alert goes off. Something happened. Something hit the fan. You'll ask, is my family gonna be okay? And then you'll ask, who the hell is in charge? What if it's him? What if it's that man from Mar-a-Lago? I know, in a crisis, we need someone strong enough to come up with a plan, to tell the truth, and to bring people together. Right now, before the crisis, is when we get to choose. Why wouldn't we choose the leader who's tough, tested, and a total badass? I know who I want as our commander-in-chief. America, let's choose Kamala Harris.
Please welcome actress, director, and philanthropist, Eva Longoria.
Well, it's Eva Longoria. So basically, this is them capturing another demographic of voters, and she's Latina. Okay.
Hello, Chicago! Yes! I am so excited to be here tonight. What an honor to be part of this historic moment, and y'all are part of it. Look, I have known Kamala Harris for more than a decade, and she comes from a family a lot like mine, and I'm sure a lot like yours. We were both raised knowing that no one was gonna hand us anything, especially as women. That we were gonna have to touch every rung of the ladder to get ahead. We were gonna have to work really hard. Now, she worked at McDonald's, but I worked at Wendy's. And look at us now. You see, Kamala and I were able to see beyond the horizon because our families supported our big dreams. Well, guess what? As Americans, we're all part of one big family. Somos familia. And as familia, we have to have each other's back. We have to support each other's dreams because Kamala's success is our success. And she supports us to dream big too. So let me tell you, in the Latino community, in our community, we have a saying, "Si se puede," which means
Latina have a saying called "Si se puede." So now she want to say she's capable in Spanish to the Latina community to vote for Kamala Harris. This shit is cringy, bro. I can't deal, bro. I need a Tylenol.
We're gonna say she se puede. When somebody says, is she qualified for the job? We're gonna say she se puede.
This is crazy.
When somebody asks, is she gonna be the first female president of the United States? We're gonna say she se puede.
Where's the policies at in this whole darn thing, bro? This joint started like 5:30. It's 10:08, bro. PM Eastern time. 5 hours of nothing.
Gathered at watch parties everywhere to celebrate Kamala Harris. Say hello. Yes. All right. We know how to work, so let's get to work. Let's turn all of this enthusiasm and joy into action between now and November 5th. Let's go. She se puede. She se puede.
Please welcome former Illinois Republican Representative Adam Kinzinger.
Shout out to those 2 viewers who are watching. Thanks for joining and watching.
Hey, good evening. Good evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm Adam Kinzinger, and I am proud to be in the trenches with you as part of this sometimes awkward alliance that we have to defend truth, defend democracy, and decency. I was just a kid when I was drawn to the party of Ronald Reagan, to his vision of a strong America, the shining city on a hill. I was a Republican for 12 years in Congress, and I still hold on to the label. I never thought I'd be here, but listen, you never thought you'd see me here, did you? But I've learned something about the Democratic Party.
Here, bro.
And I want to let my fellow Republicans in on the secret. The Democrats are as patriotic as us. They love this country just as much as we do. And they are as eager to defend American values at home and abroad as we conservatives have ever been. I was relieved to discover that because I've learned something about my party too, something I couldn't ignore. The Republican Party is no longer conservative. It has switched its allegiance from the principles that gave it purpose to a man whose only purpose is himself. Donald Trump is a weak man pretending to be strong. He is a small man pretending to be big. He's a faithless man pretending to be righteous. He's a perpetrator who can't stop playing the victim. He puts on, listen, he puts on quite a show, but there is no real strength there. As a conservative and a veteran, I believe true strength lies in defending the vulnerable. It's in protecting your family. It's in standing up for our Constitution and our democracy. That is the soul of being a conservative. It used to be the soul of being a Republican, but Donald Trump has suffocated the soul of the Republican Party. His fundamental weakness has coursed through my party like an illness, sapping our strength, softening our spine, whipping us into a fever that has untethered us from our values. Our democracy was frayed by the events of January 6th, as Donald Trump's deceit and dishonor led to a siege on the United States Capitol. That day, I stood witness to a profound sorrow, the desecration of our sacred tradition of peaceful transition of power, tarnished by a man too fragile, too vain, and too weak to accept defeat.
party claim to be patriotic if it idolizes a man who tried to overthrow a free and fair election? How can a party claim to stand for liberty if it sees a fight for freedom in Ukraine, an attack pitting tyranny against democracy, a challenge to everything our nation claims to be, and it retreats, it equivocates, it nominates a man who is weirdly obsessed with Putin? And his running mate who said, quote, "I don't care what happens in Ukraine." Yeah, and he wants to be vice president. Yeah. How can a party claim to be...
Sorry, I was on mute. The reason why you only talk about being conservative and talk about conservative anyway in the first place is because of Donald Trump. Let's be real as a grown man. Just take the full accountability and hold yourself accountable for the simple fact that you are not a conservative and that's okay and you turned liberal. That's it.
American democracy.
The hell?
His generation found the courage to face down armies. Listen, all we're asked to do...
You over here advocating about not bearing arms and all this other stuff, bro. Like,
man. Some have questioned why I've taken the stand I have. The answer is really simple, ladies and gentlemen. We must put country first. And tonight, as a Republican speaking before you, I'm putting our country first. Because the fact is, I do belong here. I know Kamala Harris shares my allegiance to the rule of law,
Kamala Harris ain't share any policy for the last 3 days.
Democracy. And she is dedicated to upholding all three in service to our country. Whatever policies we disagree on pale in comparison with those fundamental matters of principle, of decency, and of fidelity to this nation. Listen, to my fellow Republicans, if you still pledge allegiance to those principles, I suspect you belong here too. Because democracy knows no party.
Here's the very reason why people go
Republican. It's a living, breathing ideal that defines us as a nation.
The so-called Republican
that separates us from tyranny.
Kamala Harris.
And when that foundation is fractured, we must all stand together, united, to strengthen it. If you think those principles are worth defending, then I urge you, make the right choice. Vote for our bedrock values and vote for Kamala Harris. God bless you.
Please welcome lawyer, policy advocate, and sister of the Vice President, Maya Harris.
Oh, so Maya Harris is basically the sister of Kamala Harris, and she's a lawyer just like her sister.
Hello, Chicago. In 1958, a 19-year-old from India left the only country she'd ever known to chart her own path in America. She came here to pursue an education, but she stayed here to build a life. Her name was Dr. Kamala Gopalan Harris. But we called her Mommy. Mommy was so many things to so many people. A civil rights activist, a scientist, a devoted mother to her two
How you
little
call
girls.
your sister mommy?
But most
What the
of
heck
all,
is going on
Mommy
here, bro?
was a
This is a
trailblazer
skit. This
who
gotta be a
defied
skit.
the odds and defined herself.
I think
And
y'all
when it came to
confusing your
Kamala
own
and me,
family dynamic.
Mommy had great expectations for us, but she had even greater expectations of us. She raised us to believe that we could be and do anything. And we believed her. You see,
Mommy understood the power and the possibility that come with knowing and showing who you truly are. She knew we could be the authors of our own stories, just as she'd been the author of her own. Mommy's journey and the opportunity that she wanted for Kamala and me, that's a distinctly American story.
She sounds like the less drunk version of Kamala Harris.
Different histories,
her own sister.
different struggles, or different perspectives.
And they look
but
totally
what
different.
binds us together is the fervent desire to be free, to fulfill our God-given potential. Kamala's entire life has been about fighting for each of us to have that freedom. And like so many Americans, Kamala knows what it's like to be underestimated and be counted out. She knows what it's like to be the underdog and yet still beat the odds. And now, she has created so much electricity, so much optimism, so much joy throughout the nation, and it is why we need her leadership in this historic moment. We are living in a time when some are trying to divide us, to separate us in ways that make it difficult for us to come together. Well, look, my sister rejects that view. Where others push darkness, Kamala sees promise. Where others feel detachment, Kamala fosters connection. Where others want to drag us back to the past, my sister says, hold up now, we are not going back. Because Kamala understands we have so much more in common than what separates us. She knows the measure of our success isn't just winning an election. It's about who we bring along and lift up in the process. And so as I look out at all of you today and take in this incredible moment, I so wish that Mommy could be here tonight. I can just see her smiling, saying how proud she is of Kamala. And then, without missing a beat, she'd say, that's enough, you got work to do. She would tell all of us to roll up our sleeves and get to work, to elect a leader who sees the potential in each of us, a leader
So
who
as an
cares
adult,
for
you
all
calling your
of
sister
us,
mommy.
a leader
Make
who
it make
fights for
sense, bruh.
every one of us. Our Democratic
This is
nominee,
crazy.
my big sister, the next president of the United States, Kamala Harris.
Please welcome North Carolina Governor Roy Cooper.
All right, Roy Cooper, let's get it. What you gotta say, bro? I done heard enough with this mommy stuff, bro. It's going crazy.
Hello, America.
How long y'all think Kamala Harris gonna speak? I get about 10 minutes.
The last guy standing between you and the moment we're all waiting for.
15 tops.
So I'm going to get right to it. All week, you've heard stories about my friend Kamala. I want to take you behind the scenes of one of them. 2011 was a rough time for American homeowners. Hundreds of thousands were losing their homes to illegal foreclosure. I was Attorney General in North Carolina, while Kamala had just become California's. All the AGs were close to a settlement with the big banks, and it was a pretty good deal. Would have meant $4 billion for California families who'd been ripped off. I know that sounds like a lot, but Kamala said, hang on a minute.
By the time Kamala Harris come out, it's gonna be 10:30, bro.
Families. I know what they've been through, and they deserve more. She went toe-to-toe with some of the world's most powerful executives, and she refused to give in. Let me tell you, this was a huge risk, but she knew it was a risk worth taking. That's Kamala. And we all know what happened. The banks caved. That $4 billion for California families became $20 billion.
Oh my goodness, the banks caved.
That was the first time I witnessed Kamala in action.
The banks cave, and guess what? California is so darn expensive that it's not even sustainable to live, right?
Going to do, who never will settle for less. America, we got a lot of big fights ahead of us. And we've got one hell of a fighter ready to take them on. I know that. I know that because I know her. And tonight, I want the American people to know, even if you don't agree with her on everything, Kamala Harris will fight for you to the very end. For families who need better health care or a safer place to live, Kamala will fight for you. For parents who want better schools for their kids, for workers worried about a secure retirement for themselves, Kamala will fight for you. For any one of our allies, anywhere in the world, wondering if America still has your back, remember this: Kamala will fight for you. And when she fights,
she ain't fighting for me because she ain't fighting for me with these borders, so she ain't fighting for nothing.
Kamala's ready. Kamala's ready. The question is,
I can't take these people serious, yo. I can't.
Are we going to stand up and fight for Kamala like she'll stand up and fight for us? All right. If you're ready,
I'm not voting for this
state
lady.
of North Carolina, stand up. Stand up, Pennsylvania. Stand up, Michigan. Stand up, Wisconsin. Stand up, Georgia. Stand up, Nevada. Stand up, Arizona. Stand up, America. Are we going to stand up? Are we going to fight? Are we going to vote? Are we going to win? You bet we are. Let's go get them.
She grew up in a tight-knit neighborhood. It was the kind of place where your neighbor would look after you when school let out, where your first grade teacher would show up at your law school graduation. It's where Kamala Harris learned what it means to be in the middle class, making every paycheck count. She was raised by a working mom who taught her about standing up for what's right and protecting the people you love.
Kamala carries the lessons of our mother, the fighting spirit of our mother, the compassion.
She was all of 5 feet tall. If you met her, you would have thought she was 7 feet tall. And our mother, if I'd ever come home complaining about anything, she wouldn't have it. The first thing she'd say is, well, just stop the complaining. Just tell me what you're going to do about it.
And since she was a young girl, Kamala Harris has been fighting for families like the ones she grew up with.
That is Kamala. She can't help herself from standing up for people and standing up for what she thinks is right. She has been that way our whole lives. Being a protector is what led her to become a prosecutor. Looking back now, I could say it was her calling.
As a courtroom prosecutor, she went after predators who targeted women and children. and fraudsters who ripped off working families. And she put dangerous gang members and human traffickers behind bars.
We didn't have partnerships with DOJ or FBI or DEA or any of those law enforcement agencies. Now, we all work collaboratively. She was the person who built the foundation in how we do criminal justice in America.
As Attorney General of California, she held the big Wall Street banks accountable for fraud, winning $20 billion for California families. She took on one of the largest for-profit colleges that was scamming students. And in the Senate, she fought for her constituents with the determination of a prosecutor, standing up for reproductive freedom.
Can you think of any laws that give the government the power to make decisions about the male body?
I'm not thinking of any right now, Senator.
She fought to keep our children safe from the terror of gun violence.
How many of you guys had to have a drill where you learned about how you need to hide in a closet or crouch in a corner in the event that there was a mass shooter? Look at that. Look at that.
On the Intelligence Committee, she defended our nation against foreign adversaries. And in 2020, she made history as the first woman to be elected Vice President of the United States. She cast the tie-breaking vote to deliver urgent relief to the American people during the pandemic. She beat Big Pharma to lower prescription drug costs and cap the cost of insulin. And led the fight to restore reproductive rights after Roe v. Wade was overturned.
We have worked too hard and fought too long to see our daughters grow up in a world with fewer rights than our mothers.
Because she's never been afraid to stand up to powerful interests.
Sometimes people will open the door for you and leave it open. Sometimes they won't. And then you need to kick that door down. Excuse my language.
Now, she's running for president, still fighting for families like the one she grew up with.
Our campaign is about saying we trust the people. We're saying we just want fairness. We want dignity for all people. And we are a work in progress. We haven't yet quite reached all of those ideals, but we will die trying because we love our country. We believe in our country. We're not falling for these folks who are trying to divide us, trying to pull us apart. We know what we stand for, and we stand for the people, and we stand for the dignity of work, and we stand for freedom. We stand for justice. We stand for equality. And so we will fight for all of it.
That's who Kamala Harris is. That's what she believes. And that's what she'll fight for every day.
Keep on running, cause the winner don't quit on themselves.
Please welcome the Democratic nominee for president, Vice President of the United States of America, Kamala Harris.
There go the vice president. He finally walked out at 10:32.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. Okay, let's get to business. Let's get to business. All right. So let me start by thanking my most incredible husband, Doug, for being an incredible partner to me, an incredible father to Cole and Ella, and happy anniversary, Dougie. I love you so very much. To our President, Joe Biden. When I think about the path that we have traveled together, Joe, I am filled with gratitude. Your record is extraordinary, as history will show, and your character is inspiring. And Doug and I love you and Jill and are forever thankful to you both. And to Coach Tim Walz, you are going to be an incredible vice president. And to the delegates and everyone who has put your faith in our campaign, your support is humbling. So, America, the path that led me here in recent weeks was no doubt unexpected. But I'm no stranger to unlikely journeys. So, my mother, our mother, Kamala Harris, had one of her own. And I miss her every day, and especially right now. And I know she's looking down smiling. I know that. So my mother was 19 when she crossed the world alone, traveling from India to California with an unshakable dream to be the scientist who would cure breast cancer. When she finished school, she was supposed to return home to a traditional arranged marriage. But as fate would have it, she met my father, Donald Harris, a student from Jamaica. They fell in love and got married, and that act of self-determination made my sister Maya and me. Growing up, we moved a lot. I will always remember that big Mayflower truck packed with all our belongings, ready to go to Illinois, to Wisconsin, and
Girl, you went to Canada too. Stop lying.
took us. My early memories of our parents together are very joyful ones. A home filled with laughter and music, Aretha, Coltrane, and Miles. At the park, my mother would say, "Stay close." But my father would say, as he smiled, "Run, Kamala, run. Don't be afraid. Don't let anything stop you." From my earliest years, he taught me to be fearless. But the harmony between my parents did not last. When I was in elementary school, they split up. And it was mostly my mother who raised us. Before she could finally afford to buy a home, she rented a small apartment in the East Bay. In the Bay, you either live in the hills or the flatlands. We lived in the flats. A beautiful working-class neighborhood of firefighters, nurses, and construction workers, all who tended their lawns with pride. My mother, she worked long hours, and like many working parents, she leaned on a trusted circle to help raise us. Mrs. Shelton, who ran the daycare below us and became a second mother. Uncle Sherman, Aunt Mary, Uncle Freddie, Auntie Chris. None of them family by blood, and all of them family by love. who taught us how to make gumbo, how to play chess, and sometimes even let us win. Family who loved us, believed in us, and told us we could be anything and do anything.
What's that hope she talking about?
They instilled in us the values they personified: community, faith, and the importance of treating others as you would want to be treated, with kindness, respect, and compassion. My mother was a brilliant, 5-foot-tall, brown woman with an accent. And as the eldest child, I saw how the world would sometimes treat her. But my mother never lost her cool. She was tough, courageous, a trailblazer in the fight for women's health, and she taught Maya and me a lesson that Michelle mentioned the other night. She taught us to never complain about injustice, but do something about it. Do something about it. That was my mother. And she taught us, and she also taught us, and never do anything half-assed. And that is a direct quote.
Yeah, that's professional, huh? You're cursing at the Democratic National Convention now. Okay. You gotta curse to make a point.
Immersed in the ideals of the civil rights movement. My parents had met at a civil rights gathering, and they made sure that we learned about civil rights leaders, including the lawyers like Thurgood Marshall and Constance Baker Motley. Those who battled in the courtroom to make real the promise of America. So at a young age, I decided I wanted to do that work. I wanted to be a lawyer. And when it came time to choose the type of law I would pursue, I reflected on a pivotal moment in my life. You see, when I was in high school, I started to notice something about my best friend, Wanda. She was sad at school, and there were times she didn't want to go home. So one day I asked if everything was all right, and she confided in me that she was being sexually abused by her stepfather. And I immediately told her she had to come stay with us, and she did. This is one of the reasons I became a prosecutor, to protect people like Wanda, because I believe everyone has a right to safety, to dignity, and to justice. As a prosecutor, when I had a case, I charged it not in the name of the victim, but in the name of the people. For a simple reason. In our system of justice, a harm against any one of us
So this speech is gonna be about her and women movement, not policy. There's no policy, right?
And I would often explain this to console survivors of crime, to remind them no one should be made to fight alone. We are all in this together. And every day, in the courtroom, I stood proudly before a judge, and I said 5 words: Kamala Harris for the people. And to be clear, my entire career, I've only had one client, the people. And so, on behalf of the people, on behalf of every American, regardless of party, race, gender, or the language your grandmother speaks, on behalf of my mother and everyone who has ever set out on their own unlikely journey, On behalf of Americans like the people I grew up with, people who work hard, chase their dreams, and look out for one another. On behalf of everyone whose story could only be written in the greatest nation on earth, I accept your nomination to be President of the United States of America. And with this election, our nation with this election has a precious, fleeting opportunity to move past the bitterness, cynicism, and divisive battles of the past, a chance to chart a new way forward.
Chart a new way forward, how?
Not as members of any one party or faction, but as Americans. And let me say, I know there are people of various political views watching tonight, and I want you to know, I promise to be a president for all Americans. You can always trust me to put country above party and self, to hold sacred America's fundamental principles, from the rule of law to free and fair elections to the peaceful transfer of power. I will be a president who unites us around our highest aspirations, a president who leads and listens, who is realistic, practical, and has common sense, and always fights for the American people. From the courthouse to the White House, that has been my life's work. As a young courtroom prosecutor in Oakland, California, I stood up for women and children against predators who abuse them. As Attorney General of California, I took on the big banks, delivered $20 billion for middle-class families who faced foreclosure, and helped pass a homeowner Bill of Rights, one of the first of its kind in the nation. I stood up for veterans and students being scammed by big for-profit colleges, for workers who are being cheated out of their wages, the wages they were due, for seniors facing elder abuse. I fought against the cartels who traffic in guns and drugs and human beings, who threaten the security of our border and the safety of our communities. And I will tell you, these fights were not easy, and neither were the elections that put me in those offices. We were underestimated at practically every turn, but we never gave up, because the future is always worth fighting for. Future. Fellow Americans, this election is not only the most important of our lives, it is one of the most important in the life of our nation.
And now she's using fear tactics.
In many ways, Donald Trump is an unserious man. But the consequences of putting Donald Trump back in the White House are extremely serious. Consider not only the chaos and calamity when he was in office, but also the gravity of what has happened since he lost the last election. Donald Trump tried to throw away your votes. When he failed, he sent an armed mob to the United States Capitol, where they assaulted law enforcement officers. When politicians in his own party begged him to call off the mob and send help, he did the opposite. He fanned the flames. And now, for an entirely different set of crimes, he was found guilty of fraud by a jury of everyday Americans and separately found liable for committing sexual abuse. And consider what he intends to do if we give him power again. Consider his explicit intent to set free violent extremists who assaulted those law enforcement officers at the Capitol. His explicit intent to jail journalists, political opponents, and anyone he sees as the enemy. His explicit intent to deploy our active duty military against our own citizens. Consider the power he will have, especially after the United States Supreme Court just ruled that he would be immune from criminal prosecution. Just imagine Donald Trump with no guardrails, and how he would use the immense powers of the presidency of the United States, not to improve your life, not to strengthen our national security, but to serve the only client he has ever had, himself.
Lies.
And we know what a second Trump term would look like. It's all laid out in Project 2025, written by his closest advisors, and its sum total is to pull our country back to the past. But America, we are not going back. We are not going back. We are not going back. We are not going back to when Donald Trump tried to cut Social Security and Medicare. We are not going back to when he tried to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, when insurance companies could deny people with pre-existing conditions. We are not going to let him eliminate the Department of Education that funds our public schools.
Get rid of Department of Education. The kids can't read anyway. The heck?
Going to let him end programs like Head Start that provide preschool and child care for our children. America, we are not going back.
The Department of Education is too big of an entity to put it on one person, such as the president. You say they're gonna put it on the stage.
A new way forward to a future with a strong and growing middle class, because we know a strong middle class has always been critical to America's success. And building that middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency. And I'll tell you, this is personal for me. The middle class is where I come from. My mother kept a strict budget. We lived within our means.
Created a strict budget.
We wanted for little.
Within her means, wanted for little.
And she expected us to make the most of the opportunities that were available to us. and to be grateful for them.
And to be
Because,
grateful for them.
as she taught us, opportunity is not
And she
available
taught
to
her
everyone.
opportunity is not available to anybody.
That's why
This
we
is the
will
land of
create
opportunity.
what I
What the
call
heck
an
are you talking about,
opportunity
lady?
economy,
Everybody not
an
going there. Everybody not going to be
opportunity
successful.
economy
That's just what it
where
is.
everyone has the chance to compete
So you
and
creating
a chance to
a way of
succeed.
opportunity, talking about everybody have a chance to compete. Everybody don't even want to compete. That's the problem. And you keep giving them a handout, which they're going to suffer anyway.
Or big city. And as president, I will bring together labor
My
and
compete.
workers and small business owners and entrepreneurs and American companies to create jobs, to grow our economy, and to lower the cost of everyday needs like health care and housing and groceries. We will provide access to capital for small business owners and entrepreneurs and founders. And we will end America's housing shortage and protect Social Security and Medicare. Now compare that to Donald Trump, because I think everyone here knows he doesn't actually fight for the middle class. He doesn't actually fight for the middle class. Instead, he fights for himself and his billionaire friends. And he will give them another round of tax breaks that will add up to $5 trillion to the national debt.
Don't speak your
And
policy,
all
lady.
the while, he intends to enact what in effect is a national sales tax, call it a Trump tax, that would raise prices on middle-class families by almost $4,000 a year. Well, instead of a Trump tax hike, we will pass a middle-class tax cut that will benefit more than 100
A middle class
million
tax cut
Americans.
will benefit 100 million Americans. So that's how you're going to lower it, by cutting taxes. You're going to lower the price.
Friends, I believe America cannot truly be prosperous unless Americans are fully able to make their own decisions about their own lives, especially on matters of heart and home. But tonight, in America, too many women are not able to make those decisions. And let's be clear about how we got here. Donald Trump handpicked members of the United States Supreme Court to take away reproductive freedom. And now he brags about it. In his words, quote, "I did it and I'm proud to have done it," end quote. Well, I'll tell you, over the past 2 years, I've traveled across our country, and women have told me their stories. Husbands and fathers have shared theirs. Stories of women miscarrying in a parking lot, developing sepsis, losing the ability to ever again have children, all because doctors are afraid they may go to jail for caring for their patients. Couples just trying to grow their family, cut off in the middle of IVF treatments. Children who have survived sexual assault, potentially being forced to carry a pregnancy to term. This is what's happening in our country because of Donald Trump. And understand, he is not done. As a part of his agenda, he and his allies would limit access to birth control, ban medication abortion, and enact a nationwide abortion ban with or without Congress. And get this, he plans to create a national anti-abortion coordinator and force states to report on women's miscarriages and abortions. Simply put, they are out of their minds.
Why this lady be lying like this and making Donald Trump so bad, but she ain't said nothing she gonna do to move forward.
And one must ask, why exactly is it that they don't trust women? Well, we trust women. We trust women. And when Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedom, as President of the United States, I will proudly sign it into law. In this election, many other fundamental freedoms are at stake. The freedom to live safe from gun violence in our schools, communities, and places of worship. The freedom to love who you love openly and with pride. The freedom to breathe clean air and drink clean water and live free from the pollution that fuels the climate crisis. And the freedom that unlocks all the others, the freedom to vote. With this election, we finally have the opportunity to pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. And let me be clear. After decades in law enforcement, I know the importance of safety and security, especially at our border. Last year, Joe and I brought together Democrats and conservative Republicans to write the strongest border bill in decades. The Border Patrol endorsed it. But Donald Trump believes a border deal would hurt his campaign. So he ordered his allies in Congress to kill the deal. Well, I refuse to play politics with our security, and here is my pledge to you. As president, I will bring back the bipartisan border security bill that he killed, and I will sign it into law. I know we can live up to our proud heritage as a nation of immigrants and reform our broken immigration system. We can create an earned pathway to citizenship and secure our border.
Yeah, stop the cap.
And America, we must also be steadfast in advancing our security and values abroad. As Vice President, I have confronted threats to our security, negotiated with foreign leaders, strengthened our alliances, and engaged with our brave troops overseas. As Commander-in-Chief, I will ensure America always has the strongest, most lethal fighting force in the world. And I will fulfill our sacred obligation to care for our troops and their families, and I will always honor and never disparage their service and their sacrifice. I will make sure that we lead the world into the future on space and artificial intelligence, that America, not China, wins the competition for the 21st century, and that we strengthen, not abdicate, our global leadership. Trump, on the other hand, threatened to abandon NATO. He encouraged Putin to invade our allies, said Russia could, quote, do whatever the hell they want. 5 days before Russia attacked Ukraine, I met with President Zelensky to warn him about Russia's plan to invade. I helped mobilize a global response, over 50 countries, to defend against Putin's aggression. And as president, I will stand strong with Ukraine and our NATO allies.
Nah. See, look, endless wars and money being spent overseas. No. No go for me.
With respect to the war in Gaza, President Biden and I are working around the clock because now is the time to get a hostage deal and a ceasefire deal done. And let me be clear, I will always stand up for Israel's right.
Girl, you could have been got that deal done. Who you capping to? You better sit down. Keep lying in my face like this. You disrespectful, lady.
The people of Israel must never again face the horror
crazy.
that a terrorist organization called Hamas caused on October 7th, including unspeakable sexual violence and the massacre of young people at a music festival. At the same time, what has happened in Gaza over the past 10 months is devastating. So many innocent lives lost. Desperate, hungry people fleeing for safety over and over again. The scale of suffering is heartbreaking. President Biden and I are working to end this war such that Israel is secure, the hostages are released, the suffering in Gaza ends, and the Palestinian people can realize their right to dignity, security, freedom, and self-determination.
Bro, why you can't do it right now?
To defend our forces and our interests against Iran and Iran-backed terrorists. I will not cozy up to tyrants and dictators like Kim Jong-un who are rooting for Trump. Because, you know, they know he is easy to manipulate with flattery and favors. They know Trump won't hold autocrats accountable because he wants to be an autocrat himself. And as president, I will never waver in defense of America's security and ideals because in the enduring struggle between democracy and tyranny, I know where I stand and I know where the United States belongs. Country with all my heart. Everywhere I go, in everyone I meet, I see a nation that is ready to move forward, ready for the next step in the incredible journey that is America. I see an America where we hold fast to the fearless belief that built our nation and inspired the world, that here in this country, anything is possible, that nothing is out of reach. An America where we care for one another, look out for one another, and recognize that we have so much more in common than what separates us. That none of us has to fail for all of us to succeed. And that in unity there is strength. You know, our opponents in this race are out there every day denigrating America, talking about how terrible everything is. Well, my mother had another lesson she used to teach. Never let anyone tell you who you are. You show them who you are. America, let us show each other and the world who we are and what we stand for. Freedom, opportunity, compassion, dignity, fairness, and endless possibilities. We are the heirs to the greatest democracy in the history of the world. And on behalf of our children and our grandchildren and all those who sacrificed so dearly for our freedom and liberty, we must be worthy of this moment. It is now our turn to do what generations before us have done, guided by optimism and faith, to fight for this country we love, to fight for the ideals we cherish, and to uphold the awesome responsibility that comes with the greatest privilege on earth, the privilege and pride of being an American. So let's get out there, let's fight for it, let's get out there, let's vote for it, and together, let us write the next great chapter in the most extraordinary story ever told. Thank you.
Well, there go your speech, man, from the Vice President nominee.
United States of America. Thank you all.
It was like a 35-minute speech. What happened to Beyonce performing, but apparently Beyonce said she never was invited or scheduled to be there, so. I think this the end. Well, this the leader that they voting for, apparently. We got this little minion lady who just sat there and just did all this messy propaganda and gave her speech, so. Most people expect their leaders to be tall. So, but CEO-wise, leader-wise of the country, but you can see they're being more diverse. And president-wise, I don't think we as a country are ready for a woman to be leading this country. That's just my personal opinion. And the last tall president was Jimmy Carter. So every president we had basically wasn't a minion that she's trying to champion to become the first minion leader female president. So, and her whole speech is similar to Hillary Clinton in a way, because she obviously pushing that women feminine movement type thing, and they come too far to go back and stuff like that. So, you know. It looked like trying to make Kamala Harris relevant is by trying to copy the same trajectory that Hillary Clinton tried to use to go and win. I don't really think they recommend or prefer Kamala Harris to really run, but I feel like this is an important seat for the Democrats, so they just put her in a position, especially putting her in this position, let alone Joe Biden is not even cognitive to even, or have the cognitive ability to rerun. So now they're just scrambling and putting things together to fit her in as she run, well, for her to run and be the nominee as she accepted today. So there you have it, folks. So with no further ado, family, hope you guys enjoyed the stream. On that note, family, I'm out. Give this video a big thumbs up. Peace.